Yeah.
So he's now adopted that, you know.
I get that all the time. Yeah, Craig. Yeah.
So yeah, so sometimes when MC Toon streams with him, he just puts in MC Toon and Craig, spelled Kreg.
Yeah.
Craig.
Craig. Craig. Craig.
You know.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, with the American language, well, accent, Craig is one of the most mispronounced words there is to me. And I suppose because I'm called Craig. But you know what I mean? Like any American film, they just go, Craig. Like, where's the
I mean, there's accents, sure, but it's like Craig.
Yeah. So what we're looking for right now, we're having a little bit of bands between us, but we're expecting David, because David was asking for a debate, and he said any time, any place. You know, we're all having a banter and a joke. You know what I mean? Like, there's no aggression here. But yeah, David.
Oh no, what? Check off, you're way bigger than
I. David. He was. I mean, what was he saying? I mean, he was just pulling it out of the
Gravity is
bag.
strong, and the ice ring.
The ice ring.
Also, he's an engineer.
Yeah. The ice Uranus. I don't think that Barry was genuine. And
David, not Barry.
Not Barry. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, because I saw Barry. Barry Waves. That came into my head. Did David rock up?
Not yet. No. Not yet.
He's not rocked up yet. So far, he is just rocking down. But hopefully, he does come back to Cyber Waffle.
Maybe he's rocking all over the world.
Rocking all over the world.
Not past the ice ring, though.
Yeah. I'm not going on Britain's Got Talent just yet, but Barry Waves. I swear it used to be called Barry Waves. I don't know. I might have been waving myself. Dib. Absolute stonker.
There's a guest there.
Guest. Who have we got on? David.
There he is.
There he is. There's David. At the stage. David.
Hey there.
How are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Bear with me a second, mate.
Yeah, me too. I just got things up here.
Okay, I can see the light, but I'm not going to walk towards it.
How are you doing, David?
I'm okay.
It's quite difficult to hear you. I don't know if you can hear me very well, but you're quite quiet at the moment.
Okay. I just have my iPad here. Usually it's okay. How am I coming in now?
A little bit louder.
Okay.
Have you got a setting where you can go up a little bit louder than that?
Yeah, I'm a techno not great. What can I do here? Play with the...
I'm just going to check if the output on YouTube is actually louder than this.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know it might be quiet just at our end, but I'm still struggling to hear you, to be honest. But
okay, is that better? Might have been where my mic was. Okay. Is that better?
It's good there, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
So it's actually good at YouTube's end.
Yeah, it was just where I was positioned.
It's because it's registering as a phone call, so I need to put it on like loudspeaker.
I put that on silent.
There you go. Like, how loud is that?
You know what? I'm gonna change the mic.
It's in the. Is your audio up on your phone?
Yep.
There.
Oh, there we go.
All
There
right,
we
that's a better background.
go.
Whoa, are you there? You there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
There you There we go.
Here we are.
Got.
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
All right.
So, what are we talking about, David? I mean, like, can you
Well,
give us some
I'm.
information? Like, give us the starting point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you and Witsit, and I mean, as far as people that have gone to one side and then looked at all the information and then somehow went back. I don't know. I find it mind blowing that. Sorry, what's the other guy's name?
Darren?
Jaron. Yes, right. Who was a big YouTuber who suddenly just switched sides. I find it kind of amazing that he went from one side to the other. So
But I mean, what would be amazing about changing with evidence? If you know what I mean. Like, is
yeah,
there really anything like? Does that not show you how maybe your position isn't coming from like a credible place where because someone changed on evidence, you
yeah,
then don't believe them?
yeah. I mean, I just haven't seen any evidence. I mean, really, all the information that I received in school, I wasn't attached to it. It wasn't something that if somebody told me, oh, by the way, what you learned in grade 1 about Santa Claus and Tooth Fairy and all these things, it's not like I cried when I found out that Santa Claus wasn't real. I pretty much discovered that early on in life. So to me,
Well, didn't we
as
all?
long as it's objective reality, as long as it makes sense in the world that you live in, and that globe model that was on the teacher's desk would be equivalent to the Santa sleigh and the reindeers on the desk as well. It's got about
No,
as much legitimacy. And everyone always says, well, the flat Earth doesn't have a model, when in fact uh, the model is not a ball with blue drawn on it with land, because that's not a model that actually works in our reality. We can't see that. If you can't make the model in your reality, then that doesn't become a reality that makes any sense. And
mm.
it's
No, but I
always
mean
hiding behind gravity.
the thing with the globe model though is it does represent reality, if you know what I mean. So a flat
Yeah.
Earth would usually turn around and say like, oh yeah, models they mean nothing, they don't exist. But
Hmm.
someone that believes or has studied the globe, they'll show you a model that can predict weather, it can predict sunsets, sunrises, tornadoes, what direction they're going to spin, and then that is part of the model, if you know what I mean. So
Hmm.
it's easy from a flat earther's perspective to say, oh, a model doesn't matter, a model, we don't live in a model. But when you
Right.
can model something and it's actually very, very accurate, how can you then really deny that? It's not just a computer generation where it's like, oh, this is going to happen in 50,000 years. It's like, this is happening now. And yeah, you can't fake a model that you can use to predict and accurately measure things. If you were faking it, planes would crash, buildings wouldn't stand.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I think that's a very weak argument to go from like, oh, this model, like if the earth was flat, you should be able to claim a model. You know what I mean? I'd stand on my own 2 feet and go, I claim this model. I claim that this happens. I claim that that happens because the earth's flat. So, that in itself is just pure evidence, really, that the earth ain't flat. You know what I mean? I think you know
Yeah.
that deep down yourself, David, to be honest.
Well, if nobody told you different, if it was just you and me on this earth, why would we ever come to the conclusion without a third party talking to us? Why would we ever come to the conclusion that the earth was a ball? If you saw a ship go off the horizon, and you suddenly don't see it anymore, would you go, well, look at that, it disappeared, we must live on a ball? That would be equivalent to say, okay, watching a plane coming from the sky going to the horizon, well, we must live in like we must live in a donut. It
I
must
mean, in
curve
reality,
upwards.
though, really, seeing ships disappearing over the horizon was like a very good proof of the globe, if you know what I mean. So you can't really use that as evidence of a flat Earth when it was like kind of like really, this is the nail in the coffin that we're seeing things disappearing, and the last thing we're seeing is the top of their sail. Um,
Mhm.
so you know, you can't again. Like I think your arguments, David, I'm not being funny, are very weak.
Okay, so I spent a lot of time. One second. Hey, Deb, can you just give me a water? Yeah. Okay, so in the morning, I would take a walk on the beach, and I did this every morning. And I would look out, and I could see. I live in Canada, so I'd look out and I'd see PEI. And I googled how far that spot was to PEI. It was like, and I'm being conservative, 21 miles roughly. So
Mm.
at 21 miles, I could see the island. Not only could I see it straight out, I could see it as far, 90 degrees, thank you, from to the right and to the left. So I could see the whole thing. So obviously, the distance that I can see it way out here is much further, but not all times of the day. Because you're seeing, like, if you go underwater, how far can you see? From one end of the pool to the other,
Yeah.
you can't see the person. They tend to disappear quickly because you have things in the water. You can't see. We're not Superman. We can't see forever.
Just imagine
Yeah.
though how far you would see if the Earth was flat. If you know what I mean, you're seeing these little islands 21 miles away, and you think that's something amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like if the Earth was flat, you'd see Everest from halfway across the planet.
Well,
You know, so
no, no, no. So what I'm saying is, when you're underwater, you can't see as far because it's water. You can't see underwater because there's just too much in the way to see. There's too much moving around. There's too much in that medium for you to see through. But through the air, where we can
the air
see,
isn't water.
well, there is water in the air, and that's why you're looking out, and if you'd never come to the conclusion. Okay, so let me go back to my point about the island. So you can see the island. I could see it in the morning, PEI, and I'm looking out. Then in noon, when the sun comes up and it heats up the water, suddenly all that water is being evaporated, and suddenly I can't see it. So by the
Um,
time I'm walking back the
yeah,
other way, it
it just sounds
disappears.
like
So
excuses.
no,
Just
no,
sounds
but
like excuses for like what we actually see in reality, You're kind of trying to explain something away with like, oh, the air's really thick at that point, and so you're using refraction for your benefit, but like whenever like someone will say, oh, actually you're seeing way too far, like, and we'll know it's just refraction, and then a flat earther will turn around and say, oh no, you know,
Mhm.
refraction doesn't exist, so David, mate, like I don't know where you've come from, but I really do feel like you're just spouting the same parrot nonsense that I've heard 1,000 times by 1,000 different
Right.
people. And honestly, mate, like I used to believe that, if you know what I mean. I used to be a flat
Well,
earther. So you're
what made
only
you go
telling me
there?
stuff I already thought I used to know.
Yeah. So what arguments? Obviously, something must have happened where you saw, okay, there's a good point here, and you must have looked into it and went, well, I can't argue against that. So then you became, well, okay, let's see what else doesn't line up. And
Yeah.
what I'm finding is every argument is like Swiss cheese. There's too many things that I can knock apart in literally every argument in this world. And and if we, okay, would you, at what, where did you start? Like, do you believe in the moon landing? Do you believe that was real?
when I first left flat Earth, well, I'll start from the beginning.
Sure.
I never once believed in the moon landing, right? Never
Okay.
ever in my life. And then I found flat Earth, and I believed that.
Yes.
And then I realised that flat Earth is wrong. And then I realised we did land on the moon. So it kind of all happened in an arc. And it's very difficult for people that do believe that we didn't go to the moon. Like, if you believe the Earth is flat, especially, you're going to be like, oh my God, there's no way we went to the moon. And even when I left flat Earth, I was like, no, NASA's still lying. We didn't go to the moon. And that took me a good 3, 4, 5, 6 months extra. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't suddenly just go, oh, the Earth is a globe, so yeah, we definitely landed on the moon. Like, they're two separate things. Do you know what I mean? But like, it comes to a point where, not being funny, if you have a conspiratorial mindset, you're gonna believe basically anything you hear, as long as it's against the MSM. You're gonna believe it. You know.
Well, hold on. As far as a conspiratorial mind, I never had a conspiratorial mind. I always assumed up
I'd
until
object
about
to
10
that.
years ago. Yeah, no, up until 10 years ago, I I wasn't married to any of the ideas that I had. Sorry. Oh, you had the
I'll
chat.
just call out this super chat, sorry, from
Yeah.
Gideon David Sampson for 5 Canadians. Absolute legend. STSC, our sensors are not measuring devices. Our eyes have certain sensitivity, hence you cannot trust it. The only way to use it, the only way is to use calibrated instruments. Yes, I agree. And our minds are not that.
Yeah. So, what's your first name, by the way?
My first name,
Yeah.
Seek.
Steve?
Seek.
It's funny, you cut out right when you said that, your name.
Seek.
Seek.
Seek truth.
Oh,
Seek
okay,
truth.
got you. Okay.
No, I'm only joking. No, my name's Craig. My name's Craig. I'm
Okay.
very open about that.
Yeah. So at one point, you did not believe we went to the moon. I'm not sure what you watched or what you saw that made you wary of what these people who belong to societies, and they belong to secret societies, and they're sworn in. Even the president is only at about a 40th level of secrecy. And if there's about 180 levels of secrecy, these people keep the secrets because they're threatened. So these
No.
people are they're threatened to and
People are
paid to
terrible at keeping
deceive.
secrets.
Well,
Like, people
maybe
can't keep secrets, man. Like,
no, you
it's
can't,
just,
and I can't. Look, I
no,
would never keep
nobody can.
secrets. I think it's satanic to keep secrets from man, but there's something going on in this world because, you know, slavery does exist. Would you deny that? Slavery exists?
Slavery. Well,
Slavery.
yes. Sorry, repeat that.
Slavery exists today.
Well, yeah, but of course it does. But like, I don't know where we're going from flat Earth to slavery.
Well, it's all
Right.
everything, all one idea, right? I mean, you
No.
came to this world. Sorry for the record. I mean, we're born into this world and made to feel that it's logical. But you could be born into any world, like they said in the Truman Show. He
Mm.
accepts the reality for which he was given. That's all
I
we
think
do. We
like
just sort of accept
a
the reality.
a
So
good
these
quote I've
people,
learned, David, is like the universe isn't here for us to understand it. Do you know what I mean? Like, we
maybe
are
it
not
is. Maybe
here
that's what it's
to
about.
know what's going on. You know what I mean? It's a bonus if we can work it out. But like, the universe isn't based around us. Do you know what I mean? Like, we just happen to be a minor consequence of what's happening.
Yeah, well, I think that we can figure this out. It could be like the Hunger Games, or it could be like some sort of what do you call that? Where you try to leave the room, the exit room, or what do you call those rooms? Escape room. It
Escape
could be like a
rooms.
yeah. It could this whole world could just be set up like a giant escape room. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to why we trade our energy all day long to put food on the table and a roof over our head. So this is sort of the world that we've accepted. It's not normal. It
Mm,
to any human being, Does it look normal to you that we have? There's 23 people in the world today that have as much wealth as the rest of the world combined. 23
Well,
to whatever number they made up for the rest of us.
I'm not saying I agree with that. Like, I totally don't agree with that. But, like, that doesn't mean that anything is going on
That there
underhand, does
is.
it? Do you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't mean the Earth is flat. That maybe a small percentage of the population own most of the wealth. Like, yeah, I hate that. I don't agree with that. But that doesn't mean the Earth is flat.
Okay, well, as far as the flat Earth argument, I don't even like the term flat Earth because as soon as you say it, people immediately disengage and bucket you and label you. I would just say that it's an upside right place, and I recognize that it's upside right. That you couldn't
Mm.
possibly. It'd be like one of those great big round theaters, going to it, but you're not going to go to the theater and watch it on the inside. You're going to watch the theater from the outside, and you're going to stand over here on the side of the theater, on the top of the theater. You're going to live on the bottom of the theater. And they just say, well, wouldn't you fall off the theater? Oh, no. There's a magical force that keeps you from realizing you're upside down game. That's what gravity is this magical
No
spell
one's.
on our
The thing
minds.
is, in my mind, like, I'm not claiming to be some physics expert, but there is no such thing as upside down. So it's just trying to learn little simple basic things like that
Yeah.
someone standing in Australia is just as much upright as someone standing at the North Pole. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're all
Right.
on top.
Yeah.
So when you get your head around that, it's like everyone's on top. That's the way I look at it. You know what I mean? You're all on top
That's the
because
psyop of
there
our
is no.
minds.
Yeah, no, but it is like
There's not
we need
one.
to realize the scale of the Earth. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
no, I
Like,
know.
this
It's just
this
so
isn't a
big.
basketball that we're all standing around. Like, this thing is fucking huge,
Well,
and we
it's
are
not
a
that big,
mere
actually.
speck of dust
No,
standing on top of it. You know,
no, it's not actually that big, though.
it's huge.
Well, it's bigger than they tell us. I can tell you that. But it's 24,900 miles is what they tell us in circumference. Yet people have measured around the ice ring wall. There's been
No,
many.
they haven't.
Well, you know what? To be honest
You're
with you,
just lying.
I've
You're
never
like
been
you're
there.
literally making up bollocks, basically now.
Well,
Um,
here'd be
I've
my
tried to
argument.
entertain you, dude, but like, honestly, I'm hearing nothing new. You're just spouting the same crap that everyone
Right.
else spouts. I
Okay.
just want to pull up a £9.99 super chat from
Yeah, go
Cyberboy.
ahead.
Thank you very much. Question for Dave: if we can only see so far, why can we miraculously see further when objects over the horizon are taller? Please explain that, Dave. That's a question directly to you.
If we can see so far, you read that.
There's only one left. We share it.
If we
Yes.
can see so far, what's her? It didn't even make logical sense to me. Say it again.
If we can only see so far,
Yeah.
why can we miraculously see further when objects over the horizon are taller?
Well, I mean, obviously, it depends on the size of the object. I mean, that question has just got so many. It's not an honest question. It's a kind of a ridiculous question. How come we can see something way in the distance? Well, maybe it's larger. If something's smaller, it's going to disappear because it's going to disappear. And by
That's
the way,
exactly what
in the
he's saying.
comments when I said I was an engineer, I took engineering in school and college.
Did you fail?
No, I passed. I graduated. But the point is, in all the surveying that I did, there was no curvature formula. And 8 inches,
What
when
type
you're
of
using
surveying
these.
was it, though? What type
Oh
of
my God!
surveying was it? Sorry.
I graduated in '92. I never had to work in the industry, so you're bringing me back with the old
So,
Travis, and I'm 58.
so
So
now that isn't good enough. If you know what I mean. Now I've questioned it. That isn't good enough. But you were about to use that as evidence.
No, what I'm saying is we did use traverse and whatever those other ones for long distance. Anyways, the point is there was no formula in any of that to that. If these things, if you're looking into them, you can literally bring your calculations down to, oh, if you were off by, well, we use millimeters most of the time. If you're off by a few millimeters, that's a lot. So
It is a
8
lot.
inches, if you're talking just 1 mile, that's 8 inches, and it goes exponentially after that. So per mile
But surely,
squared.
I mean, that has just shown me that you haven't really got much knowledge in that field, because I've got a tiny amount of knowledge, and they know they don't. I know they don't use the 8 inches per square mile. You know, because that's a parabola. So
You're
that
saying,
isn't the curvature of Earth over longer distances. You know what I mean?
well,
So it's a bit shocking that you would use those terms.
it's an accepted formula based on these, the 8,000 diameter ball heliocentric. If you look at it, they never did tell us in school what the parabola formula for curvature is. And they didn't probably tell us that because they didn't want us to figure out, hey, if we can figure out what the parabola curvature is on a tangent of a ball, then maybe we might ask the question about what's the curvature of the earth. But they didn't want us to think in those ideas. That's why the curriculum is made up by a group of people who sit around a round table. They're not nice people. I know we think they're nice, and we're always waiting for them to
How
give us
do you
the
know they're
answer.
not nice people? How do you know they're not nice people?
Well, this world is set up, well, for the fact that I said there's 23 people that still have influence in government, all the influence, and they have all the money. So if you have as much wealth as the rest of the world, why don't we just double tax them and don't tax anybody else? So you don't have to pay any taxes the rest of your life until these people are broke. It's only 23 people. I'm willing to sacrifice it. Are you okay with that? Never paying taxes again?
Yeah, but I mean, this is all, this is economics and politics. I
Yeah,
thought we was
right.
talking about the shape of the earth. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like we all want the billionaires to give their money away and make us all rich again. You know what I mean? Like, but
Money
that
is an
has nothing to
illusion.
do with the shape of the earth.
Look, at the end of the day, well, it depends on what you were talking about, but money is just an illusion anyways. And we're just here for entertainment, obviously, because if you had, if you could print money, if you had a printing press with a picture of yourself on it and you put up some letters and numbers and you said, good, I'm going to get everyone to go work for this and trade their day for it, and you controlled it. Well, what would you do? You just have fun with them and just create some sort of Truman Show effect for the rest of the world while you're just sitting back having a good time. So, do you think they told us in school how the world works? Do you think they taught us in school how court systems work? And that's really one of my areas because I spent a lot of time in court. And
Yeah,
I realized that is
but,
all a big scheme, the whole thing.
but I mean, what do you need to learn about court unless you're going to be a lawyer? If you know what I mean, like you don't
You
need
shouldn't have
these.
to. Yeah, but they sold it out to agencies so that now, unless you're a lawyer, that you can't. Why couldn't the thing be set up to be user friendly for you and me? If it's a service corporation and that's all government is, wouldn't that division, that tentacle of like if you picture an octopus, if there's 8 forms of control and court being one of them, why wouldn't you have that arm of it being user friendly, where you could just go in there, represent yourself, tell your side of the story? But no, they say you got to go pay to hire somebody. Nobody ever wins in court.
Mm,
And if you think it's fair, then you haven't spent enough time there. I spent a lot of time there. My sister's in the background laughing because that's all we do. It's full time for us, and we have
I
fun
know.
in
Well,
there.
yeah, I don't plan to spend a lot of time around courts unless I'm committing crimes. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I have been standing up against all this fraud that's been going on. Maybe you just accept these things that are happening around us. But Right. Maybe you're just accepting the reality for what was given to you.
What does your
I didn't
sister think
accept.
then? You say your sister's there with you. Does she think the Earth is flat?
Huh?
Yeah. I told her about 10 years ago that when I
So
came
she just
across.
believed you because you told her.
No, she said.
I was researched it myself.
Once they all. He
I
came here.
researched it myself, and I came to that conclusion.
Yeah. Anyways, if you want to come over here, you can come over here. But just
I'm almost done.
Okay. Well, come over after. Okay. Anyways, no, she was very open-minded to listen, but she said, you know what? I'm just going to think about it for a bit. And she thought about it and looked into things and got back to me about a day or two later and said, you know what? I can't think of any reason why I would think I live on a ball. That's like thinking that you live on the outside of a theater. You remember the Truman Show at the end of it when they zoomed out and he was just inside a giant theater? If you've watched that Mikey guy, Mikey Smith, he's actually zooming in to all the stars and players and all these, and they're just lights in a firmament. And the thing behind it that they tell you is the infinite space, and they go on with such ridiculous numbers. And really, you're being deceived by the devil that controls this world. And everyone is. And you can laugh all you want, Craig. But, I've looked into these things pretty in-depthly. And, I know you got a lot of people that support you. And, they're happy to have you back and believe that you live on a globe. But, all that does is it sort of takes your mind away from where we came from and who we are and where we're going. And that's how you control people. If you don't know where you come from, because you don't know, Craig, anything before the day you came to this world, you don't know. You don't have any memory of it. You had a memory swipe. So you're just living here today, and then suddenly your parents are so busy to raise you, they sent you into school. And you can listen to the Rockefellers. They even said that they deliberately broke up the families, got your mother working with Rosie the Riveter because she was one of the riveters during the whether she even existed. You know the story.
Well, I'm sure that's like a total misrepresentation of the story, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, they started the women's movement, and these people are just powerful families that are banking families that have control, way too much control. And why would a world be set up that the more money you have, the more power you have, you shouldn't have any influence in government?
Yeah, no, I believe, I'm with you with that, actually. Yes, I'm 100% with you. But that doesn't mean the Earth's flat.
Right. So they have got us mind conditioned, and they actually use, believe it or not, MK Ultra mind control. And I could tell I wasn't commenting back. Well, they do. They use MK Ultra mind control to keep this gig going. And I can tell when I'm talking to people. I'm just going to go and
get the salad dressing.
Sorry, what's that? Oh, that you're.
I'm just going to go and get the salad dressing.
Yeah, right. Okay. Word salad. Well, let's face it. If somebody was say you put a simulation helmet on your head.
Word salad.
Okay.
Using your word salad?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
No, I
Imagine. See, I tend to go with the idea that this is more of a fake world. It's more of a simulated world rather than a real reality. And you don't know, possibly it could be just like the Matrix. You wake up, when you die, it's possible that you die out of this body and you wake up and you'll find out that you were hooked up to a machine that was just a high-tech machine that was tricking your mind on every level to get you to believe that you were to be a slave in this reality. It could just be that way. I could be wrong, but there seems to be something.
I feel like David, you've got a slave mentality. So like you almost want to be a slave. You know what I mean? Like it feels like you're pushing yourself into this slave mindset, but it's not like that out there. Like it might be for some people. Of course, slavery exists. But like for someone sitting there, yourself sitting there, you've got an internet connection, and like to even consider yourself as a slave, like what are you on about in a way? Like to me, I'm sitting there like, your place. You've got an internet connection. You've got your little plants in the background. Do you know what I mean? Like you're not a slave to anything, really, are you? You go to sleep at night, and
No.
who's whipping you? Do you know what I mean?
No, well, you're a slave to your body, you're a slave to life, you're a slave to this world. If you want, like, why can't we just come to this world and just go grab
Appreciate
some
life.
land? No, and go out in the woods and just grab some what they call crown land, land that nobody else is using, and just
Oh
live on it.
man, come on! You're pulling up hills now. Come on, Crown Land is like the first thing that every conspiracy theorist goes to, and they're like you've pulled it back to that. Come on,
Well,
come
okay,
on,
well,
David.
if you want to,
That's how it happened. Not
Okay.
that long ago, in fact.
absolutely. So, why does it kings and queens get to hoard this land? Who made them kings and
They
queens?
don't. Like it's just ridiculous.
I
Like
think, by the way, it didn't flag your super chats at all.
no, is that I've had a couple of
Yeah, it's
oh my god, I've had some super chats, David.
Well,
Bear with me, mate. I
no
just need to
problem.
mention a couple of super chats. Thank you very, very much.
I hope you're making lots of money. I do.
I'm not making lots of money, mate,
gonna
but
retire any moment now.
yeah, yeah. After after tonight,
Just one
that's
more,
it.
just one more slightly up.
Oh, right. Bear with me, David. Oh, we got
No worries.
JSS Tiger. Is there another one?
No, I think that's it.
Oh, okay. JSS legend. Dave's on about brainwashing and believes in Satan. Right, we'll come back to the one, David. So Dave is on about brainwashing and believes in Satan. So that will be our point that we come back to. The Rocket Couch, $5 Canadian, absolute superstar. I went to Nova Scotia last summer and saw offshore windmills that were half under the horizon from my POV. How do you explain this on Flat Earth?
First of all, those windmills you're talking about in Nova Scotia aren't even hooked to anything. Okay, they're just there to kill birds and put a resonance frequency in the air. No, literally. What's the point of them? They're ugly.
That's getting clipped. That's getting clipped.
They're just bird killers, as far as I can see. They're not doing any good. And by the way,
You might go viral, David.
yeah, so if these things were going to lower our rates, how come our rates went up? Our rates didn't go down. It's supposed to be spinning. You know what I mean? Those windmills are just spinning all the time, and your rates are going up. Look, we just get further in debt, and we keep waiting for these people to have the same answers, and they're never going to have a good answer for us.
Well, an answer that suits you. Is that the real truth, David?
Well, I couldn't. Sorry, you get a bit of an accent, so it takes me a while to get people's accents. So forgive me if it's taking me a little bit. I get better at it as I
Thank
talk
God,
to you.
would we ever do if he spoke to Freaky Blinder?
Yeah. Well, he's got no accent.
Oh,
He's
Creaky. Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
mention that Creaky binder guy he's just rude. You know, he's
Oh no.
you know, I listen to him once in a while just because he you know, goes online insulting people, but
Yeah.
it just discredits himself when he sounds like that. He really comes across pretty creepy.
Creepy blinder.
Yeah, he should be creepy
Yeah.
binder, whatever.
Well, I'm not. No, I'm not saying that. I mean,
Yeah, but you
I
sound
think
like
you're more creepy than he is. I must admit.
yeah.
What?
I don't think
Well,
I'm.
at least you admit that. You know.
I don't think I'm creepy. But that's besides the point.
You are.
I am.
Yeah. You are, David. Yeah, definitely. You think the Earth's flat, bruv? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
It's
you were
pretty
there
clear.
for a bit. You
I
were there for a
was,
bit.
but like I could laugh at myself. You know what I mean? Like I could laugh at that now, and that is the best thing. Is like just the most scientific thing anyone can ever do is admit you're wrong and actually
Yeah.
swallow your pride and just go, do you know what? I've been a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I was wrong, and I hope you can get there one day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a dog in this fight. If somebody could prove to me one way or the other, because people say to me, well, if I could convince you that the Earth is a globe, like I never got brainwashed into that concept. What is there
Definitely not.
anything I can say to convince you? And I said, well, of course, of course. My mind is
Mm,
completely open. It doesn't matter to me. It literally doesn't
mm.
matter to me what shape the Earth is. But if it is, you got to admit these. It's not like these two concepts are anything close to each other. It's not like one's round and one's a, you know, a
Yeah,
tetrahedral, or it's one's flat and one's round. One's like a
yes.
flat plane that we're wondering what's beyond the ice ring, and we really don't know. And
The ice ring.
we can speculate there's extra land and extra realms which they won't let us go to. So how
Mm.
could we possibly know if they won't let us go in a boat? Like if you got on a sailboat and you went past the 60th parallel, well, suddenly you'd be approached by a military ship or a
David,
submarine comes over the water.
I mean, how new are you to this whole thing? Have you heard of the final experiment?
Well, of course, yes.
So you know that people can go
Yeah, I
further
know
south
all
than the
8 of them. Yeah.
60th parallel.
I don't even think they went there. Honestly, it looked like it was filmed beforehand. It looked like they were younger. I don't know. It looked like, I would say it's a couple
They
years.
went back in time. Yeah, like something like that must have happened. They look younger. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like you're gonna make up excuses, anything to uphold your belief, you are gonna say it. Do you know what I
No,
mean? You're gonna make up total bollocks, David, just to hold your lie in your head, you know. And you won't see it. You won't see it until you get to the other side and you go, do you know what? I was wrong. And then suddenly you go, oh my God, all these lies I've made up in my head just to believe that nonsense. And you do. You don't see it. You think like, oh, the globe is a lie, it's a cult, um, it's all of this. But no, mate, I have faith in you, David. You can see the real truth.
yeah. Well, I mean, why don't you just come up with one evidence and don't say it's the curvature like a boat going over the horizon, because these
I'll tell you
are
my best
old.
evidence. Yeah, I'll
No,
give it
but
to you,
these are
mate.
old arguments, and we've already, you
I'm
pull
going to
out
give you
your.
one that's going to blow your mind,
Yeah, okay, one
because
second,
that'll
but
be a bit of evidence that you would
right.
try to give to me. But I want to pull up this little comment by Hugh Jas. What a legend. Go and check out his channel. David is a simulation by STST to make the flirts look stupid. But then that's the biggest joke there is, because nobody can make flirts look more stupid than they do themselves. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like it doesn't make sense. I'll tell you what, David, my biggest proof of a globe.
Yeah, go
Right.
ahead. What do you got?
Imagine a flat Earth projection, a azimuthal projection, right? North Pole in the middle, South Pole, Antarctica around the edge, which often gets misconstrued as an ice wall,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So we have lines of latitude and lines of longitude.
Yeah.
We look at the equator, and the equator is the same latitude the whole way around.
Yeah.
You travel north of the equator, that latitude slowly gets smaller and smaller as you meet the North Pole. A sailor, a navigator, could travel south of the equator
Yes.
and meet the exact same dimensions as the increments that the lines of latitude go down to meet the South Pole. So
Okay. Yeah.
this
Yeah.
creates a ball. Let me
Yeah.
just explain. Like this creates a ball. So
Okay.
like on a flat Earth, when it goes out to the supposed ice wall, the smallest lines of latitude are
Mhm.
closer to the South Pole. So this shows that it's getting smaller. So
Okay.
people travel this. Why don't they get lost?
Yeah. Well, I just bought a sailboat just to make the point of what you're saying, and next year I'll prove it.
Can I come with you?
Absolutely.
Let's go
What?
on a little sailing trip together.
Well, what I plan on doing is getting a whole bunch of people to get sailboats. You can buy sailboats pretty cheap and live on it actually cheaply. And instead of going to the, like that faked moon landing style flat Earth, what the final experiment, which is about as cheaply done as the moon landings. Instead of doing that, you get a whole bunch of people. They go to the ice ring wall. There's actually
The
places.
ice ring wall.
Yeah,
I
well, you
love
go
it
to the
every
ice
time you
ring
say
wall,
that.
and at
Yeah.
certain times of year, the ice ring wall opens up. And by the way, you could never make the point, because what you were saying is, I see what you're saying, that because you feel you live on a ball, it would be the same going towards the north because these lines are converging together to get to the North Pole. And you're saying the same thing happens to the south. Problem is, the military won't let you go to the south
It
because
will,
you'll be
though,
approached.
David. They
They know
will.
where
Like
you are at all times, Craig.
you're
They're
lying to
watching
yourself,
you.
David.
Your
You know
government's very curious of you.
the final. Yeah, I know the government are very curious of me, but that's nothing to do with flat Earth.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, maybe they don't want you to find that out. Like Truman in the Truman Show.
No, David, I have you down. Like you seem like an intelligent guy, and I just can't believe you're falling for this bollocks. Do you know what I mean? Like, surely you're worth better than this. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
even if you're lying, like, why are you sitting
I'm
there
not lying.
lying about it? Like, you're either lying or you're an idiot, and they're
No.
not good looks. Do you know what I mean? So, come round. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so much better to just be to know than rather than what was it you said? Like, people want to be right rather than wrong or correct. Yeah, like it's rather to be correct and not know much about it than wrong and think you know a lot, you know. So
Yeah.
I just hope that,
Well, I don't sit and study all the talking points trying to win a debate. I've known all the talking points. At one point, I'd have to look back at all my old notes to
well,
see where
you
to
just said it
remember it
there,
all. It's like
David.
writing a test and then
Talking
afterwards
points,
forgetting the test. Sorry, what are you saying, Craig?
David. Well, you said it there, mate. I know all the talking points. That's not evidence. A talking
Well, the
point isn't
talking
evidence.
points.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
Like, if you really were like, right, the earth is flat, I'm going to come at you with measurements. This is correlated. You can go out, do this yourself. Like, that's when people will start listening. But when you're like turning around and going, I know all the talking points. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's philosophy, isn't it? Like, it's just, oh, I know what to say. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't hold substance to me anymore, bro.
Well, I mean, I don't know what what I can. There's nothing obviously I can say that's going to convince you, and it doesn't. Honestly, I used to try to convince people, but I've given up on trying. I just more study people's behavior.
Yeah.
When I bring up
So I
something that I
think
feel is
I've got a
logical.
feeling like you're probably like I don't know, some kind of person trying to do some study on people that believe in the earth as being flat. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is where you've heard of Poe's law, haven't you? Do you know what I mean? Like, where you
Yeah.
can't tell if someone is being honest or not about believing in something that is so ridiculous. And you come under that where like I can't tell. Like, I'm honestly like, is this man being serious, or like is he just having a joke? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Is
Yeah.
was it your sister you were talking about earlier, mate? Was she about?
She's in the background doing something,
Yeah.
making a chessboard. She'll come over in a minute. She's just busy doing something, but
Yeah,
no,
like
she's
I
very
kind of
honest about it.
because I'm very evidence based now. Do you know what I mean? Like, once I've gone
Yeah.
back to believing in the globe, I'm very much like I want to. I'll entertain people that actually believe it. But if I
Okay.
think you're speaking bollocks, I'm just a bit like, mate, get a life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I want to kind of correlate with your sister coming along and things like that. Is just like,
Yeah.
I really don't want to just sit here just talking to someone that is just on a wind up.
Yeah.
And at the minute, I can't tell if you are or not.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what I can say to get you to, I know all the people that are involved with the flat Earth movement. I was familiar, obviously, with the final experiment. No, this guy, he was a flat earther, and then it's hard to talk to you and my sister at the same time. Anyways,
Bring her along. Bring her in. Bring her in. We'll all talk together.
yeah, she's in the middle of a project, so she can't stop what she's doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but she'll come over in a bit. But
Cool.
no, I'm very genuine about it, and I'm, I'm not emotionally connected to anything. If you can prove to me, if you have evidence, I'd be, if you could prove to me we live on a triangle, or I just don't know how you could be upside. People always say, oh, well, gravity holds you to the ball. But if you can imagine, just take a globe and take some little men and stick them with it, like the whole thing was a steel, and you got these little magnetic men, and you stick them to it, upside down, on the side, on the top, all over the thing, and you say that is the gravitational force that holds them there.
No,
well, wouldn't you even recognize that you're upside down?
We wouldn't, no, not in that scale, if you know what I mean. So you're thinking in a two-dimensional world. So you're thinking of a ball as we know it, like a soccer ball or something like that.
Yeah.
When in reality, in that scale, it's not. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it takes a jump. But it is, unfortunately, knowledge, or not knowledge, but kind of understanding that sometimes there's things that we can't understand. But like, it adds up. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't just think like, oh, I'm standing on the North Pole, so I'm at the top of the globe. Like there is no up and down. So just to get your head from that 2D to 3D mindset is a huge thing. So once you make that flip, and then suddenly you can kind of think like, oh yeah, hang on a minute, yeah, that's why we have seasons. That's why, like this
all
happens. That's
these
why
are just
that happens.
ideas, Craig. Those are all just ideas, none of
No,
which
they're not
make
ideas.
sense. Like the idea that the moon is somehow making tides, and all these things are just concepts that
They're not, dude.
the moon
You
doesn't
believe
even
they're
float
concepts, but they're
along.
not.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, if you've seen the whole idea how you have a ball and there's water over it and it's bulging out, not even where the moon is. Technically, when you look up in the sky and you see the moon, then, it should be the tide's in. But you go down there to the beach and, the tide's out and the moon's right there. And here's another question for you, Craig. Answer this one.
Riddle me
I
this.
came up with a lot of my own little arguments that, I don't hear on Flat Earth, but I'll just throw it out there. So if I look up in the sky and I see the sun and the moon side by side, you've seen that before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I live in Canada, and what if I was to call? I got a friend in Australia. If I was to call my friend in Australia, where it's like whatever, I'm just going to roughly say 12 hours difference. On the opposite side of on the lower side of the Earth.
I'm still with you.
And on the opposite side, if I called him up, it would be nighttime. So if it's 12 noon and I'm looking up.
You got halves on that? Oh, you still got some.
Yeah.
I'm still with you. I'm still with you.
Yeah. Okay. So if I'm looking up and I see the sun, if I see the moon right beside the sun at 12 noon here, if in Australia it's 12 hours difference on the opposite side, and I call a friend up, can he see the moon on the other side?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one of us is seeing through the Earth?
No, you're just it is a matter of perspective and size again. You're not realizing how far away the moon is. So even though you're
doesn't
both
matter. Through the Earth is still the Earth would be blocking it. One of us
wouldn't.
How could we both see it on both sides?
Because the moon's really far away. So
it doesn't
even
matter.
though you're both,
it's just so big, it's just so far away that we just sort of go blank on the.
No, it's easy. It's easy. Obviously, I was you, David. Do you know what I mean? I had your beliefs, so I can see why you think that. And it's like, oh my God, you're thinking of Earth as 2D, and you're like, how can they still see that sun at that same time. But like when you look at it on a globe, it's perfectly viable. Do you know what I mean? Like the moon is that far away that you're gonna both see it. And the killer is one of you sees it in daytime and one of you sees it in nighttime, right? So what you need to do is try and explain how that can happen on a flat Earth. How can someone in daylight look at the moon in daylight and then someone else looks at the moon at nighttime? How can a flat Earth ever explain that?
Okay,
That's a
so
killer.
I
That's a
think
killer.
okay. So if you went into a great big warehouse, okay, and they're building for Amazon these monster-sized warehouses, okay, just hang with me on this one.
Yeah, I've got one
Okay.
near me, but that's not going to prove the Earth is flat.
No, I'm just trying to make a point that if you went in there and they put a light on one end of the warehouse, and you're on the other end, but the thing is enormous. You know, these things you couldn't hit a golf ball from one side to the other. That's how big they are. So you're saying that that one light over here is going to light everything up like the
Even
sun.
if it
This is the
didn't
same
light up,
argument.
you'll still see the light. You know.
I think the problem people have of the ball earth is they tend to take their model, and then when we say no, the earth is flat, and then they take, oh, so you think it's a pizza in space. So you got Mercury, Venus, then Earth floating in space, and then you got the flat Earth Society that tries to tell us we're propelling upwards, and then those shill scientists come on and they say this is what flat earthers believe. Meanwhile, there's not one flat earther out there that actually believes that. Every one of them was just laughing at what a joke it was. But you know, these Neil deGrasse, and you know, if Neil deGrasse was an authentic, legitimate astrophysicist, why wouldn't he debate Eric Dubay? Why wouldn't he?
Oh,
He said it was just beneath him to do so. Oh, he's just such a priest of heliocentrism that
Eric,
it's
dude,
beneath him.
Eric Dubay wouldn't even debate me. Like, do you know what I mean? Is it like
I don't believe that.
I'd like for you to search Eric Dubay debate because he's never had one. He's never
Well,
ever had one single debate.
I
So
can't imagine he would
how
cower down.
dare he think he's going to be able to search for bloody call out Neil deGrasse Tyson for a debate, and he's not even debated like me, Cats, FCFE. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like he's not even entered the field of the supposed argument, and he calls out someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to happen. He's never debated anyone. So like,
Well,
I
he
wouldn't
was.
never call that as like a got ya. But like, oh yeah, he hasn't debated Dubay. Like Dubay's never debated anyone. So it's not even
Yeah.
worth mentioning.
Well, I've
He
never heard
wouldn't
him in a
debate
debate, to be
me.
honest with you. But I think he would be great in a debate. And I know a lot of people have made their statements about Eric Dubay. He's really he's the one that reintroduced it to humanity here. And I don't know
No.
why everyone's throwing him under the
He
bus and calling him
reintroduced the
disingenuous.
con.
And part of the
He,
reason,
he
one sec, the reason everybody's throwing him under the bus is because he said some things about the Jesus Christ narrative, and that got people's backs up. And that I don't have any dog in the match in this world. I think this whole world is just run by a bunch of Satanists. So whatever this world is, it is, and I'm just open-minded enough to accept whatever it is. So, and I think Eric Dubay is the same kind of guy. But I don't want to say anything that might offend even some of the flat earthers out there. And I like all of them. I think they're all kind and genuine, and
what
what I
do you
do
think
find is
about
the
Oakley?
people, and what I
Do
do
you think
find,
do you think Oakley's kind and genuine?
yeah, I know what you mean. He's a bit animated sometimes, but I definitely think he's genuine. And you have, but look at the other characters, like in a, Creaky Binder, Blinder, whatever his name is. You just listen to the guy. He's not nice at all, right? He's just fight
Little
the
super
flat
chat there.
earth.
Sorry, Matt. I'll just call it out.
Yeah,
Two
go
dot
ahead.
€2 super chat from Timo Lynch. Hail Satan. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, right. Devil's
Love
ears.
it.
I don't know.
Gotta love devil's ears. I mean, I'm a Freemason more than a Satanist, but I don't know. I like them both.
Well, are you actually a Freemason?
Only 32nd degree, but
Yeah. Well, you know, they teach flat Earth at the Mason lodges, and they have flat
yes.
Earth symbology all over it.
This, I mean, look at this flat Earth symbology right here. Do you know what I
Oh,
mean?
that's what you were showing me. I didn't really notice that on the
Yeah.
inside. Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. There. That is the
It's
flat Earth
you
map
could
right there.
navigate by this. This is the official flat Earth map. If
Right.
only the flat earthers would jump on that and then like study it and realize that like this is truth in plain sight.
Absolutely. Just put it in plain sight, and nobody will see it like that.
Yeah.
That this world is very deceptive. I mean, is there anything that the government? Yeah, there we go. So you are a Mason.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you're definitely a Mason.
so, but they do teach that the Earth is flat at the lodges, do they not?
They used to, but then obviously we got told that we needed to then pretend that the Earth is a globe. You know what I mean? Because the Masons realized how to trick God.
Yeah.
So we learned to change God's own creation into our own, basically. And it was the power of people, you know. God's a powerful thing, but when we all got together as the Masons,
Yeah.
we did it, you know. We got to that point where it was like, God, we're gonna pretend the Earth is flat, all right, and you better shut your mouth. And we're gonna do this because we want to hide you, and we're gonna just pretend that creation is nothing, and we're just gonna promote Satanism, you know, but not in ways that people know. You know, it's like you say, it's the truth in plain sight. You know, the 33, obviously, well, I'm only 32 degree at the minute, but I'll soon be 33. And then that 33 is half of 66. And 66, you add one more six, and that's 666. Do you know what I mean? And that's where we get to. Yeah.
I
Truth
don't
in
know.
plain sight, dude.
Right. So
You believe that, don't you?
I don't know what to say after that. I don't know.
No, I mean, I am well known for having a wind up. So I will admit that last bit was a wind up. So I don't want you to, you know, I'm now a bit worried because I thought that you were on a wind up. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to fucking wind you up. But now I'm
Oh,
a bit
okay.
worried. Do you know what I mean? So
I don't
jokes
know.
for jokes. Jokes for
Okay.
jokes. We've
Okay.
got another super chat from Timo Lynch. What a legend. €2. Did Aleister Crowley found did Aleister Crowley found NASA, David? Do you know who founded NASA?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The names have just left my head, but they were. Oh my gosh! Just start me off with the names. I just forget them. I had a motorcycle accident last year, so I've lost a lot of my memory. So all these
Von
old
Braun?
arguments and people. Oh, what's his name there? He wrote
Von
he wrote
Braun?
in his book actually about.
Yeah. Liam Wakefield's got it. Von Braun.
Yeah, thank you, Von Braun. That's who I was thinking of. And jet propulsions, whatever his name was. And these people all belong to societies. And by the way, you know, the idea of some of these societies, are you really part of that or are you not? I don't know
I
if
was
you're.
only joking, mate. No, I'm not really a Freemason. That was just all a joke. But one thing I wanted to bring up, though, obviously, with your, was it a motorcycle crash? I mean, you know, I don't want to put the
What's
piss
that?
with that. The motorcycle crash, did you say you had like a crash or something where you lost a bit of neurological memory?
Oh yeah, so yeah, no, I was in a motorcycle accident last year,
Yeah.
and
Did it,
since then I've had to.
what I was wondering was, did your flat Earth belief come after that?
No, it was before that,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
like 10 years ago. So
Okay.
I've forgotten more than I've ever known about it. But I
Mhm.
had to sort of just go into some old stuff that I looked into and just get, you can always get your memory
Mhm.
back. Just it's a matter you got to work at it a little bit. So when you ask me the names of somebody, it's just like you run into somebody you haven't seen in a long time and you forget. You
Yeah.
catch somebody off
I'm
guard.
like
You
that,
just forgot
actually,
it's just the way our minds work. You're just not. So someone's like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, he didn't know that guy. When in fact, yeah, you catch me in the right moment, and you'll find, yeah, it's just the way your mind is wired to be in those little wavelengths. We're not computers. We have our faults. We're not perfectly designed. Otherwise, we would be able to. If we were perfectly designed and we weren't intelligent enough, I don't think we could stand this place. Honestly, I think if we were any smarter than we are right now, operating in the system that we are right now, we're just smart enough to work and put food on the table and a roof over our head and not realize that we were taking advantage of our whole life. That's how smart we are. And that's what your life is. You just got to look at it in the present moment of what it is. Is there
I
somebody
really feel like
benefiting
it's
from?
like, you can look at life like that. Anyone can look at life like, oh, everything's against me. This is set up like that, and maybe a lot of it is, but I really hope that you can kind of see the other side as well. And I know you can, and you have, and do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
there's,
I'm open-minded to it.
yeah,
No.
I just want to bring up this comment actually from Bridge the
Yeah.
Divide. Hello, mate. Good to see you. I checked up on your channel recently, mate, actually, and loving to see the sort of growth you've had. It's brilliant. STST, if he thinks the Earth is a sphere is impossible, can he provide the logical contradiction? So the Earth is a sphere. Can you provide the logical contradiction as to why the Earth is not a sphere?
Can I come up with a logical contradiction?
Yes.
In your basic world it's like I was saying earlier, if you went to school and you didn't just have the indoctrination ball on the desk. By the way, that's not a model of the earth because that is not, it has a stand. There's no stand on the earth holding the
Well,
ball
yeah,
up.
very often it's going to say, like, for educational purposes only. Like, no one's going to
Right.
actually travel using that globe in the classroom. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
And you got to like grade 6 or 7 and you did a project of the solar system where you got the styrofoam balls and you drew some circles. That was not a depiction of the earth as well because they're just styrofoam balls sitting on a piece of paper. Or maybe you did a fancy one inside a box hanging from the strings and you look inside and you go, oh, there's the solar system. No, all those styrofoam balls are being held up by strings. So that would be like saying that all these planets are being held up by strings. So
who
there's
said
no
that?
model that we could ever make of this universe inside this world we live in.
There
But
is though, dude. Like, all you got to look at is like the way Mars and like other planets interact around the sun. When they make courses between Earth and the sun, so that, like, oh, this sun that we think is circling around this flat Earth, how is this planet, this wandering star, how is that crossing the path between the Earth and the sun? Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, no one can explain that on a flat Earth. And there is
yeah,
so many things, and you're agreeing with me. The amount of times I've sort of mentioned things, and
no,
you're
I'm
like,
not agreeing with
"Yep,
that. No, I'm
yep,
not. What?
yep." Well, you're kind of nodding along, but then
No,
you're not
I'm listening. I'm
offering.
listening.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you are listening. Actually, you could have been
Yeah,
really horrible, and you're not. So thank you.
yeah.
Um, but I think that whilst I'm saying things, you seem like you're agreeing with it. Do you know
No,
what I mean? Like,
it's
because
just that
it's logical.
Wait 1 second. Rich Divide actually is asking if he can join the stream.
Of course, yeah. Is it not
It's
pink?
Tim, yeah.
Yeah.
He's just
Okay.
asking if it's open to the
Of course he is. Yeah. I would love bridge the divide. I would love for you to join the stream. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What about
because
that
like,
guy?
what was that, David?
Sorry, there was another guy in the chat earlier that wanted to have a debate with me. Is he going to come on?
Possibly. I don't know. I know bridge the divide wants to pop on. But I don't know if there was someone else earlier. Yeah. Cool. Right, he's there.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
this is
used to
so
listen.
cool. I'm so glad I'm back doing streams. Right. JL Warren. This is how I remember him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Flat
JL,
earther?
how are you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. Doing very good. Just got done recording my next video, and I happened to see this in my feed, and I was kind of like, oh, I got to check this out. So I don't want to I don't want to take over like this, but I saw you had the open invitation. You had the invitation at the top of the chat, so I was really curious. So I'm going with this. David. I'm assuming you're a flat earther.
Yeah,
or
I would say so.
That. So
I don't like any labeled terms. I'm it's upside right, and I can recognize that because my observation is equal with what I perceive. Okay, so everything I perceive in my reality, without other people telling me.
Well, here's the big thing on that is that essentially. I think what happens is that a lot of flat earthers, when they're having these conversations, they get mired in the idea that this is a scientific thing, or that this is an information communication thing, or it's a government thing, or something of that nature. And I having listened to these things over for years, for the better part of a decade, I don't think that's where it actually lies. Okay, because when I asked earlier what the logical contradiction was, like if you hold that the Earth being a sphere is impossible, okay, then that would logically entail that there is a logical contradiction in the Earth being a sphere. Okay, so just starting out, do you think it is impossible that the Earth is a sphere? That is an impossible thing.
Yeah, it's the most unscientific thing I've ever seen in my life.
Okay. So then the question would be, why does all of the predictive modeling confirm that it is? And do you know, just to make sure, do you know what I mean by predictive modeling?
Yeah. So put it this way. The question goes a little deeper than that because man will lie. Moon landing people.
You're telling me?
Yeah, no, and the people that just went to the South Pole, Antarctic, what do you call it?
The final experiment.
Final experiment. That was very disingenuous, and these people seem to be very upset, almost behaving like astronauts. If you're going to lie to anyone, don't lie to flat earthers. Because,
yeah, but just to be clear, you think they're lying for what purpose?
Slavery.
To keep humans as slaves?
Absolutely.
Okay, so slavery implies ownership by somebody else. That an individual has lost their agency and is owned by someone else, like ownership. So, given that I understand that the Earth is a sphere, who owns me?
Your government owns you.
Well, but the government doesn't own me.
Yeah, they do.
When you're born.
Yeah, you were born into a world that your memory must have been deleted, and now you are, because I don't know how old you are, but we all look to be about the same age. Yeah, so I can't remember. I don't know anything before the day I was born. So using past things to try to prove your reality today just tells me that you're willing to go into the things that you're not aware of.
Okay, so I'm curious about this.
Yeah.
So given what is entailed by slavery in itself, the ownership of another person as property, that's what slavery is. Now, obviously, you're talking about some sort of conceptualization of like mental slavery in that respect. But my thoughts are my own, and the government doesn't dictate my thoughts. That I understand it's kind of akin to this. I can use the predictive models to demonstrate that the Earth is a sphere as equally as I can demonstrate that of anything true, like in my office. Okay, that these are things that are logically consistent, and they have no bearing, because if we're talking about bigger things, Okay, because obviously I don't think it's a government thing. I think it goes higher than that for you. I think that this actually goes into religious territory, is what it is.
I don't believe in religion. I would be what would be
But-
considered agnostic, and I
Okay,
don't have
so-
any.
so
I have faith
how-
in myself.
So how is it impossible for the Earth to be a sphere? Because I'm just asking you, do you hold that it could be? I want to know how intellectually honest you're being. If there's no logical contradiction in the Earth being a sphere, then it is possible, logically possible, that the Earth is a sphere, and that your perception, that you were simply misinterpreting your perceptions. Is that a possible thing?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So then my question would be, by understanding that the Earth is a sphere, that the predictive modeling, no matter who's coming across this, that these things have been determined independently in independent cultures throughout history, not just the Greeks. Other people have figured this out as well. Other cultures have figured this out, okay, as they've come up, figured it out independently. These are pretty simple things. Given that, and these predictive models work, okay, how does that control you and your behavior?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
Strong.
the idea of living on this ball,
Uh-huh.
that you have limited resources. Meanwhile, there's land and much more of it outside of the ice ring.
Well,
Okay.
no, but no, that's a claim though. But you can't bet. We haven't backed that up yet. So,
Yeah,
so
they
obviously,
would just let us go there.
no, but obviously, your conclusion is you're assuming the truth of your conclusion in your premises is the problem there. So you're begging to question the existence of these things in order to justify your position, and that's problematic. So what you should be doing is saying that if you could find this land and demonstrate it exists,
Yep.
then you would have an argument for why controlling agencies would want to keep us away from it. So why would you assume the existence of these things? Why would you beg the question of their existence in order to hold your position?
Well, because Robert.
One second. Yeah. So well, first of all, I don't know who came up with the final experiment, and even
That
what's
was
that?
a Christian dude,
Pastor.
Will Duffy, I think.
Yeah, Will Duffy.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then, a bunch of people like, but I know MC Toon. I know I've met MC Toon. I know him
Right.
personally. The dude is a great dude. He's a believer. I am
Yeah.
not. I'm an atheist. And so, and I do atheist content, but I know MC Toon, and the guy is top notch, is a great guy. So,
Well, as far as Toon goes, I've never met the guy in person. He's very condescending, as
he
I
can,
find.
he can be. There's a reason for that. I mean,
Yeah.
If you recognize his condescension, yes, I understand that he can be. So can I. I can be condescending as well. The reality is that irrational beliefs tend to lend themselves to irrational behaviors, especially when it comes to the defense of those beliefs. Is that people will do irrational things when their beliefs are grounded in irrationality. If the undergirding concept behind your entire worldview is ultimately begging the question, then that you need to defend that fallacy that you're making. So my curiosity is, recognizing this, why would you hold to the more irrational position than the rational one? Why would you actively choose to do that?
Okay. Because I haven't seen anything that lines up in my reality that I guess I would be begging the question about all these things that once you look into anything on these, the idea of living on the ball, you get resistance from people that is just like you took their dog away from them. And the emotional reaction.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that, because it's literally, I mean, no matter what your position, it's literally a denial of reality. It's like saying like you believe the earth is flat is akin to saying that you could fly if you stepped off a skyscraper. That's literally what that's like. And so when people react to that, it's kind of like, the evidence is there. The explanatory and the predictive modeling are there. You can go and do them yourself. You know, if given the time, inclination, and resources that you have them, that it is possible to do this. And yet,
I got the same upbringing as everybody. The whole world gets the same 12 years of indoctrination, and
but it's
clearly
not.
that's what
But
it
that's
takes.
not. But that's not the definition of indoctrination. That's not what indoctrination is.
Well, it takes 12 years, obviously,
Well, I mean, but that's
to
not
get a
indoctrination.
human to hold on.
But that's not indoctrination, though. That's not how science works. We don't go to school, and you didn't go to school, and they didn't just say believe this. That's not how that works.
No, it was sneakier
When you
than
go
that.
when you go to school, they say this is what is established. Let's go out and see it for ourselves. When you do science, like when we did biology and chemistry and physics and all that stuff, it's not like they didn't just give you in math when you're in calculus or trig. They don't just say, here's the formula and it works. No, you have to apply the formula. And so you can see how these things work. With science, you do the exact same thing. You go out and you do the experiment and you replicate that in a completely different scenario, which counts as a form of peer review. So you're basically doing the thing that they're doing. And if you come up with a different result, then that would be huge, but you don't. They're not telling you like what to believe and to just go forth and believe it. No, they're saying this is what is, and this is how you do it to come to this conclusion. So there you go. So it's kind of a misrepresentation of how education and science works.
Okay.
Because indoctrination is something that religions do.
That's what your school did.
But they didn't indoctrinate me. That would be like saying, that'd be like saying that when I was taking pathology courses and I understood that I understood what causes rhabdomyolysis in human beings. Okay, the degradation of muscle tissue leads to the release of enzymes. Those enzymes block up the kidneys. That causes an increase in creatinine, and therefore it is one of the symptoms of rhabdo. Okay. That's not indoctrination. That's a description of what is happening.
Okay.
Okay. Based upon the evidence and the effects of these things in that particular system. When I can make predictions as to when the sun will rise at any particular part of the earth to the millisecond, and simultaneously make a prediction as to when shadow will appear on the planet, and simultaneously use predictions as to what phases of the moon will be, and make simultaneously predictions as to when eclipses will occur and their paths of totality. And I can take all of this data and put it into a predictive model, and that predictive model confirms through geometry that the Earth is a sphere.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
Right?
So, David, I'm going to step in like as a moderator. I'm absolutely loving this, Jo and David. I really love this. Like, I really feel like my calling in life is to be a moderator because I love listening and learning and just hearing people speak. I love it. So, David, can you explain or just give some reasons as to why this data is wrong? Come on, man. Give us something.
Right.
Okay. Sorry, JL, what's your first name? Just so I'm not calling you.
Oh, you just call me. You can call me JL.
Okay. If you go back to grade 1, and you brought up the point that they didn't brainwash you to think you live on that. They didn't even have to tell you you live on that. They just put what's a ball already painted, just because it's painted there. And this is the argument somebody, I think Cookie Biner and Tunes, or they take a tennis ball. When you say water does not cling to a ball, they'll actually take a tennis ball as if you live on a giant sponge tennis ball.
Wait,
if you held it up, it would fall off. These arguments.
But you understand why that doesn't work, right? But you understand why that doesn't work, right? Why the tennis ball analogy with water on it? Why that doesn't work, right?
Well, it wouldn't work because you're suggesting that the oceans are just filled with
the tennis ball thing doesn't work, and is a bad experiment because the tennis ball and the water on the tennis ball are in the gravitational well of the Earth. And so the Earth's gravity will be working on those things more than those two things are working on each other. If you had the tennis ball in a vacuum away from any gravitational source, which would be difficult, you know, but if you got out far enough away from any gravitational source, then you could replicate that effect. But the problem is here on the planet, it doesn't work because the gravitational pull of the planet is affecting both the water and the tennis ball.
Okay.
Okay, so that's why that's a bad experiment, because what they're trying to do is replicate Earth's gravitational field while standing in Earth's gravitational field, and that doesn't work. So
Okay.
right.
So
Oh,
all
no,
I'm
no,
saying
no,
is
like, say,
we're talking.
sorry, guys. I'll just step in for a minute. I'm kind of trying to come at this from when I used to think the Earth was flat. Is I kind of get that with like, it sounds like magic, if you know what I mean. Like to someone that doesn't understand that, it's like, oh, we can't replicate that because of Earth's own gravitational pull. So there's no way we can recreate that. So from David's perspective, or a flat earth's perspective, I can see the other side, if you know what I mean. Obviously now I understand, like, or at least think I know enough about gravity to know the Earth's a globe.
It's kind of like the plane thing. Like they'll argue, so well, you think planes fly upside down? Technically, they don't, because your frame of reference, your frame of reference is always going to be towards the center of the Earth, and it's going to be directed in that way. But if you were outside the Earth, like in orbit, okay, and you zoomed into the Earth close enough to the point that you could see airplanes, you could track them to the degree that from your frame of reference, you would see them flying upside down. But the people but the people on the planet who are in the plane will perceive themselves as right side up. That's all about frame of reference. Because, like, if you imagine, like, here's the Earth and things are going around it, the people on the Earth are always going to view themselves as right up because of the attractional force down towards the center of the Earth. But if you're outside the Earth,
you believe that.
Well, I mean, it's experimentally and demonstrably, it's demonstrated, experimentally demonstrated. So, but the whole point is that if you're outside the Earth, say you were in a spaceship, looking at the Earth from any direction, because remember, in space there is no up or down. So if you're like wherever you looked, you could see airplanes traveling upside down because they're traveling with the gravitational pull of the Earth. So it's kind of a frame of reference thing in that respect.
Yeah.
But as far as like gravity goes, that's demonstrable, and also predictive modeling works with that. And that's actually additional info. The effect of gravity, the phenomenon of gravity, it goes into those predictive models. If gravity didn't work the way we thought it worked, then the predictive models generated from our understanding of gravity would not come true. That's just how that works. If I interpret data from here, and then I use that data to make a prediction about the future, and then that prediction fails, then obviously my interpretation was wrong. I looked at the data wrong. But if I interpret the data and make a prediction, and the prediction comes true, then I know that my interpretation was correct, right?
Okay.
I mean, you can agree with that, right?
Yeah. Okay. I just 1 minute I was making a discussion about saying how the school system indoctrinated us. You said that they didn't trick us, and now we're moving off. We're moving the goalposts over here again. So
but
just
no. I'm saying,
we'll get to that.
There's no reason for the school system to trick
Let me
people.
just cut in there, David. That's you moving the goalpost there, because like
there's no reason for there's no like rational reason for the school systems to trick people. There wouldn't be, okay? And the reason for that is because if you are begging the question of a different Earth in order to justify your conclusion, in order to justify your assertion that the schools are tricking people, you're the one with the irrational position, and the people who are not begging the question, the ones with the rational position.
Okay.
So why would you choose the irrational over the rational?
Okay. I'll respond. You've said a lot, and I've given you lots of time to air your thoughts. Just without coming in the middle, just give me a little time to respond to some of this. Okay. Whether you know it or not, the indoctrination program, I don't call it an education system because I've already investigated that deeply. You cannot question that information that was given to you.
Sure,
If you do, the military will contact you. If you have any questions for your any level all around the world, if you say, you know what, I got some questions for the curriculum. Those teachers are they have signed agreements, and you can't come in between that agreement that they have signed to indoctrinate that child into those beliefs.
I'm sorry, dude, that's false.
Well,
No, I'm sorry.
hold
No,
on,
no, no,
I can
no,
tell you.
no, I'm sorry, Dave, that's false. My
Oh,
wife
you
is
didn't wait for
no,
my proof.
no, David, my wife is a teacher.
Okay. Is she right there? Bring her on.
Well, no, she's currently working on something else, but my wife is a licensed teacher. She's worked as a teacher in a couple of different fields. That's one of the jobs she's held. She got her certification.
Okay.
My wife is a teacher.
Okay.
She does not report to anything of that nature. That's
Okay.
that level. You're talking federal versus state.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
If someone questions something in a classroom,
Yeah.
why would that teacher report it to the government?
No. 1 second. Let's be very clear about
You
that.
said military. You said military.
I'm saying if I,
Claim without evidence.
and I'm speaking firsthand, I got 2 kids, okay? I did question it, and I was approached by the military, and they didn't know what to do with me, because you have a guy who's, a good upstanding citizen, everyone likes him, but yet he's got questions, never did a crime in my life. So you don't know me from a hole in the ground. I'm not some kind of criminal.
The military doesn't come after individuals who committed crimes who were civilians, right?
Just saying they did to me.
So the armed forces, the Marines.
No, they don't show up in like armed forces military clothes. They just took me out for a little luncheon, and I'm not allowed on any school property in all of New Brunswick, in Canada. And if I'm caught anywhere near there, I'll be arrested.
That sounds a little scary to me, mate.
What's that?
If you're not allowed, that sounds a bit scary to me. If you're not allowed around schools at certain times,
no,
but I was like, what?
I was a school bus driver too for a while, so I'm just saying it's not for that reason. It's just because I had a couple of questions for the district when my kids were in the school. So I went at the proper channels. I called the district about it, and that was somebody I even went to school with. And she just became like, we have contracts. You cannot break these contracts. And I just said, I just want to sit down and have a meeting with them. Well, they won't even meet with you. You're allowed to pay them to brainwash your kids. You're not allowed to have a sit down. Okay? And as far as take it to the next level, take it to university level. All these people in university who you would think, well, there used to be, someone brought up Nova Scotia earlier. Was that you?
No, it wasn't me. But could I just ask? And I've never been
go
to
ahead.
university, so I'm not using this as a one-up on you. But have you ever graduated from university?
Yeah, I told you I took civil engineering in college. Okay.
In college.
Graduated in 2 years. Civil engineering technology. I took structural. Never worked in it, but I still remember most of it.
You do realize that the mathematics you use in civil engineering are also applicable in astrophysics?
Yeah. So, right.
You can apply the exact same math formulas that work in that. You can apply them in that field, and they come up with those same results. Those are part of those predictive models. Why does the math in your field work, and then the math when it's applied in the other field suddenly fail?
Okay, I know what you're saying. Look, if I'm looking up at the lights and the ceiling here, and I come up with all the mathematical reasoning, and then I go up and I get a ladder and I look up and nothing makes any sense, you're just making models and mathematics that doesn't prove anything. It's all
but that would say that the math is failing. If the predictive model doesn't come true, then the math doesn't work.
Okay.
But the math does work. It works both in your field of civil engineering and it works in all these other scientific fields. Those formulas don't change. The applicability, how they are applied, does when they're trying to do, but essentially they're doing the exact same job. Determining angles.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that math that works for you in that field in civil engineering also works in those ones. The predictive models that you make in your field come true, just as the predictive models in their field come true by using the exact same math. So where's the break?
Okay.
Where's the breaker here?
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll put a little bit of my engineering time into this answer. When I was in college and we would come out of the test, because I took structural, you'd have to, you get a test and it would say, design this beam for this situation and this girder, this whatever you're building. And we come out of the test and you know how you did on the test based upon, you come out and say, yeah, what'd you get for this? Oh, I got a W155 by 46 for this one. You would know. But the thing is, just because my math worked in the end of it, so I'd go down the line. Sometimes my eyes would miss, because it wasn't this one, but it was this one. I designed the wrong beam for the situation, and my math worked out. Everything lined up. But the problem is, I got the wrong answer. Okay, because I didn't always get 100 on my test. So I'd come out of the test and it just be
obviously
stupid.
if it was the
So
wrong
you make
answer,
mistakes, but your math works out.
But obviously, if you didn't get the right answer, your math was wrong.
So the point is, everything.
Right? I mean, no. I mean, can we at
end.
least agree on that? If you got the wrong answer, then obviously your calculation was incorrect.
I'm saying you can make lots of mistakes and still have this equals this at the end, and you're like,
but
well,
apparently
it didn't. But
apparently didn't. But you got the answer wrong. So apparently your calculation was wrong at some point, correct?
Is what I'm saying is sometimes your answers the math all works out.
If the math all worked out, then you would have gotten the answer correct. If you didn't get the answer correct, then obviously there was a mistake in your calculation, correct?
Look, Nikola Tesla said that
David, sorry, mate. Let me
built
just
up a
step
great
in.
big
David,
Yeah, go
David,
ahead.
sorry, mate. Let me just step in. Because you are now talking about math. And again, I don't claim to be any type of expert on any of this, but science, there is no such thing, as far as I know, as a true fact. But math does prove things. You know what I mean? Like that, you can't lie with numbers. You can measure things.
Not when you're making predictions. Because the only way it's going to come out, a prediction is
hold on.
No, hang on. No, David, a prediction is either going to come true or it is not. It is a true dichotomy. Either your prediction is correct or your prediction is wrong. And mathematics helps make predictions. And those predictions come out wrong, we know that the math was wrong. But if the prediction comes out correct, then we know that our application of the formula was correct. So therefore, math doesn't lie.
Okay, so therefore we live on a ball?
No, I'm saying that take that back to what I said previously. Don't ignore what I said. Those mathematics are a part of the predictive models that we utilize at the same time. So like, for example, if I have a system that can only make one prediction, that's something. But if I have a system that can make 10 predictions simultaneously and they all come together, they all come true at the same time, I have a better model. So a model that makes one prediction, that's one thing. But a model that makes all the predictions successfully, that's another thing entirely.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would work with the system. I would work with the model that provides all the predictions, where all the predictions come true, as opposed to the one where one prediction comes true and all the rest are ignored.
Okay. So
that would be that irrationality versus the rationality part we're bringing up here.
Okay. So if you were in a court of law, okay, and you make certain statements in your testimony, your sworn testimony, or your affidavit or whatever, okay, that is your sworn statements. Does the judge at any point believe any more testimony from you?
What do you mean? The judge is not the one. Well, you could have a trial by judge. The judge is the one. I'm in America, so we either have a jury. We have a jury or a judge. It could be a bench trial or it could be a jury trial. Either one. But that it's like literally any testimony that I provide is going to go into the record, and the totality of the record, once the defense and the prosecution rest their cases, the totality of the evidence will be then gauged by the jury or the judge.
Okay, so if you get up there and you are sworn to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and you are caught by the prosecutor
in a
is
lie.
cross-examining you, and you are deliberately lying, and you consciously know that you're lying,
I'm perjuring
and you
myself.
get caught perjuring yourself.
Yeah.
And the judge looks at you like, okay, well, you've now perjured yourself. At that point, does the judge believe any more of your testimony?
That wouldn't be okay. So if I perjured myself on one statement, does not mean that I have perjured myself on all statements. What can occur is that I have perjured myself, and then I can be hit with a crime. That's a crime. I've committed a crime there, so they can charge me with perjury, but it doesn't eradicate my testimony.
No, but what it does is now
it damages my character. It damages my character, which would be really bad in a character defense, that I'm lying in a character defense. But if I deliberately misrepresent the fact of one thing while giving full-on testimony, they don't just take my testimony and throw it out the window. They say, no, it was exposed that he lied on this one. So the opposite of what he said is true. That still has to remain in the record. All the testimony still goes in.
Well, your credibility is substantially discredited.
Right?
Okay?
Yeah.
How could you believe anything more?
No, it hurts my because that's the whole point. No, that's the whole point. Is that the defense and the prosecutor, their job is to get to the truth. And if they've revealed that you are perjuring yourself, they have revealed that you have lied on the stand. Yes. Therefore, but it doesn't mean that if you make 10 statements and you lie on one of them, it doesn't mean the other 9 are automatically lies, which is why you still retain the testimony. The testimony is still on the record. Yeah, things that are stricken are things that are not pertinent, like outbursts and crap like that are stricken, or like hearsay statements that are stricken from the record in order to impugn the judge or kind of like sway the jury, so like outbursts and crap like that. But no, you can make 99 true statements and lie on the 100th. It doesn't mean your previous 99 are not true. Yes, your credibility would be hurt as a person, but a person with low credibility can still tell the truth. So
so put it this way: your phone, when you want to get rid of the icons on it, and you want to delete it, and they're shaking, and you have that negative sign, and you just tap it and get rid of them.
Yeah, I have an iPhone. Yeah.
That would be all the credibility. If you give a whole bunch of information in the form of putting icons on the screen, the second you lie, you got a negative sign.
Okay.
Everything's going to be deleted.
I get your analogy. I get your analogy here, but here's the problem. Here's the problem. You haven't identified one lie yet.
So what I'm saying is there anything? Now, I know people immediately say, you're a flat earther, you're whatever, denies the moon landing, science denier. If anything, flat earthers they're not denying anything. Their minds are open to everything. You ask any flat earther.
So let me ask you this. What would be the logical entailment if humans did land on the moon? If that is a true proposition, what do you think is logically entailed by that being true?
Okay, so if they did do that, I'm still pissed off that they did. That
Why?
Because you have people living on the streets, you have pedophile rings running rampant, you have all kinds of crimes from the elites top down that should be investigated, and money that I am not paying governments to. Well, we didn't do much for the moon landing. We built that the Canadian arm bullshit. If we didn't go to the moon, I want my money back. Okay? Somebody owes me for lying to me.
Okay.
Dude, moderator stepping in there. Like, how
go
much
ahead.
did that really cost you, David? Like that moon landing.
Yeah.
How old were you when the moon landings happened?
The first one, 2. That's
Two. So you
167.
didn't spend anything then, did you?
What are you talking about? My whole life, my whole what do you think they're doing at the top?
Wait,
We
wait,
got
wait,
people
wait.
live.
So-
What's that? What's
so-
that? We have people living on the streets,
Right.
and we are giving your government money to tell you what's up there, and I don't believe it.
Well, here's the
It's-
no. I get that. I get that for some weird reason you don't believe it, but here's the problem. It is entirely
yes.
logically possible that humans have gone to the moon. Okay, now we know it. Now we know it for a fact because we can actually confirm that we have been there. Okay, with a strong enough telescope, you can actually zoom in on the evidence that we have been up there. But nonetheless, the
You
point
can't
being
go
this-
to a light in the sky. It's impossible.
If I may,
It would be
Okay,
lifted
so
at your
so
feet.
so
Very
so
good
David,
stuff.
David, I understand that
You
you
mind?
don't know
Yeah.
what stellar
Excellent.
spectroscopy is
hello.
and how stellar
Hey.
spectroscopy
Hi.
is, like in the evidence that we have
Hi.
on the moon, stuff like this.
Sorry if I may interrupt here.
Yeah, you can interrupt. Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm a mineralogist. You
A
can
what?
believe that or not believe that.
No,
I'm
what
a
do you say you were?
mineralogist.
Mineralogist.
Yes, I
Like
studied the
mineral
science of minerals.
expert, in minerals?
Yes, that's an actual field of study.
Yeah.
That's what I
Okay.
have a degree in. Believe that or don't believe it.
No, that's,
And I
that's
was very privileged to be allowed to do thin sections of, you probably don't know what a thin section is, that's fine, of lunar rock at the little university I studied in Germany. I made actual slices of lunar rock that you can look at, and we
Nice.
know that they're lunar rock because the weathering, because of the crystallography of it, because of the entire spectroscopic picture of the damn thing. It's a very specialized field of study. This is not condescending, but
Yeah.
I fucking know what I looked at. You are now just basically calling my entire field of study me either
Yeah.
a dumbass or a liar. So what am I? Stupid or a liar? You decide.
Spectroscopy is a really
Well,
awesome.
No.
Really,
Petrography and petroscopy.
oh, there you go, like that. And I like spectroscopy is a really awesome field, David. I think that you would really dig that if you like looked into it, like how we determine
you.
like stellar spectroscopy is really cool. It's how we determine what things are made of by the coloring that their elements exhibit. It's really, really interesting shit. But here's the problem. Here's what I identified. You agreed that you say that it is possible that we went to the moon.
No.
And if we did that, no, it isn't logically possible that we went to the moon.
Absolutely.
Like, is it? So okay. So please
it's lunacy to think.
Okay,
we could
wait. So
Lunacy.
please tell me the logical contradiction there.
You mean why would they lie?
No. When you state a thing is impossible, there's a difference between possibility and probability. Okay? Probability is a matter of numbers, but possibility is a matter of logical consistency. When you state that a thing is impossible, in other words, like A equals A is not equal to not A. But if you say that A is equal to not A, that is a logical contradiction. That is impossible. So there's a logical contradiction there. So when you state that a thing is impossible, it is impossible for humans to have gone to the moon. Please tell me where the logical contradiction is there.
Okay. This is what I'll say about the minerals that you claim that you were.
No,
No,
David,
that's
David, no.
nothing
I
to do with
asked you a
I
direct
know.
question. No, I asked you a direct question. What is the logical contradiction there? If it is logically possible that the moon exists and is a sphere that orbits the Earth, if it is logically possible, how is it not? Where's the logical contradiction in the moon being a spherical orbiting satellite of the planet? Where's the logical contradiction there, David?
Okay. Everything that you observe up in the sky, first of all, it's lit up.
No, it's reflecting. It's reflecting, and we know the difference and how
the sun's on the other side of the Earth.
Hang on. We know how to determine the difference between reflected light and light from a source.
Okay.
Okay. When light rays bounce off a thing. Okay. So we know we understand these things. The moon reflects light from the sun unless the Earth is blocking it.
Yeah.
That's
And
how
that's an eclipse.
that is how
Yeah.
eclipses occur. That's
Yeah.
why new moons occur.
Mm.
When the moon is there, but you can't see it.
I'll
Okay.
just step in actually,
So-
Jael, as an ex-flat earther, because I think David can only look at the moon as it's creating its own light. If you know what I mean. So
Yeah,
he's,
it is, and you can
he
prove
doesn't
that it is.
understand.
No, you
No,
can't.
no, well,
one
no,
second,
David, it
No,
one
you
isn't.
can't because spectroscopy
Mm.
shows that it is not.
Okay, can
Yeah.
I? If you can give me a minute to answer, okay?
How do you refute spectroscopy?
I will.
You're going to refute the field of spectroscopy. That
Absolutely.
elements give off their own hues. That's how we determine what a thing is composed of.
Okay, so yeah, no, my sister said she's gonna make a noise in the background. Yeah, I heard you. Yeah.
Well, where is
Anyways,
your sister?
no, let me
You
answer
know,
that.
you
First
asked
of all,
for Jael's wife earlier. Where's your sister?
yeah, she's coming. She says, "Okay, just one moment." She's
So
in the middle of a
please
project.
debunk how
I will.
elements
I will.
wait, do elements give off their own spectra?
Well, they can, but not like that.
No, they do. Elements give off spectra. That's what spectroscopy
Look,
is.
first of all, I wish he had had a piece of that fake moon rock. And for the record, Craig, I didn't mean for your friend to be insulted. And no, I don't think he's a dumbass at all. I think that we're all being tricked very deeply here.
No.
Okay?
Yeah, but then
And
you're still calling him a dumbass. Like you calling civilization dumbasses.
No,
Do you know what I mean? You are.
Look, I think
David.
Yes.
How are you going to debunk the entire field of spectroscopy?
Well,
When
just watch me.
we can experimentally, we can demonstrate that elements give off their own spectra, and that by looking at the spectra, we can determine what the composition of an object is. How are you going to defeat that? That's literally a direct observation.
Okay. Well, first of all, Neil, what was his name? Neil Armstrong gave some moon rock to a university of.
Oh, come on. This got debunked like 15 years ago.
David, I want you to. David, I want you to stay on point.
I will.
Debunk spectroscopy.
Okay. So, what you were saying is that at nighttime, the moon that we see in the sky that is brightly lit up there, like it almost looks like there's something behind it lighting it up like a light bulb at night.
There isn't. When you look at it with a telescope, you can see that there is not.
Okay.
Mm.
And that there is
a basic telescope. Well, you don't even need a basic telescope. I did this as a child. My father had a telescope.
Right.
My father bought a telescope when I was like 7 years old, and that's how I first saw Saturn, which just blew my mind. So, but nonetheless, with a telescope, you can look at the moon and see shadows in craters. That's common stuff. We do that in elementary school. So my curiosity is that immediately defeats it as being a light source, because how light works from a light source is that the photons travel outward in all directions equally, because the speed of light is constant. So it'd be constantly coming out in all sides. You could not get shadows on that.
Okay.
It's like you can't see shadows on the sun.
I'm going to answer that, okay?
We've
already proven.
As a moderator, you still haven't answered the spectroscopy thing, but you know,
when I
go back to that, or
when I use stellar spectroscopy to look at the moon, and then I look at to use at the sun, I can confirm what those objects are made of by their spectra. So,
okay, can I just? You got to give me a minute to answer, JL. Okay.
I want you to stay on the topic.
I will. Okay.
You running off to like Neil Armstrong moon rocks. You running off to like
well, you didn't let me. No,
those are all deflections. They have nothing.
Allow me to say something at the time. I didn't want to interrupt.
Nothing to do with spectroscopy. I'm asking you about the field of spectroscopy.
Okay. First of all, you're talking about reflections off the moon.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
The sun is just a light bulb.
I'm talking about the spectra that the elements that compose the moon give off, that tell us what it's made of. You know what spectra are,
You've
right?
never been up there to see it or grab a hold of it or
That's a
know
claim.
it.
That's a positive claim.
Okay, so
that's a positive claim for
Okay.
which you are begging the question.
Okay.
That's the problem.
First of all,
Okay.
all the claims that this world holds that you back up, you go along with it.
With
all
predictive
of
model,
them-
with predictive modeling.
Yeah, and I just bring up
With predictive modeling. I
Okay.
don't just accept
Okay, that's
claims.
fine.
I
That's
don't just
fine.
accept claims because
Dale.
people are making claims.
Okay, but you're the one making the position that says this is what it is.
Because it is, we can confirm it, we can experimentally
Great.
confirm it. Okay, so
Great.
we can do
then
that.
you have that position. Then
No,
you're holding a
no,
position.
that's not my position. That is reality.
David, but what position
Yes.
would you rather hold? The position that can measure things, that can time things, that knows when things are going to happen, or the position of I haven't got a fucking clue? Do you know what I mean? Like that's what you're fighting for. Is at the minute someone that is saying, "I can tell you when this is going to happen. I can measure this. This is going to happen at that moment then." And then the other person, you, David, is going, "Well, I ain't got a fucking clue, but I'm going to believe that one anyway." Do you know what I mean? Like you're not even offering anything that's going to.
You know what? I think we can sum this up. We can sum this up really, really easy. Instead of trying
But
to
you're
dive
not giving
into
me a time to answer the
we go like
question.
this. I think I can sum this up.
I'll
with
give
one
you
simple
in
question.
a moment.
Go ahead.
David, is it logically possible that you are wrong on all of this?
I could be, yes.
On all of it?
Everything.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Okay.
I love that.
And I'm willing to admit it.
That's a foundation you can work from.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think the basis
I
that
cannot
everyone
talk-
should work from is, "Am I wrong?" Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never start from, "Oh yeah, I'm right. I know
Oh,
everything."
It's
Am I
frustrating.
wrong?
Yeah, no, if I am wrong, I'll be the first to admit it and I'll laugh at myself about it and I'll tell everybody. I'll probably write a book about it and say, this is what I used to think. I was crazy. And
That's where I got the
was
idea
wrong.
from. That's
It
where
wouldn't
I got the notion that when you said that if we did go to the moon, you were pissed off that money was spent on something instead of solving what you thought were real problems what you consider real problems here on the ground.
It is
and while
illogical.
It's not illogical. Just because there are problems on the ground doesn't mean we stop scientific exploration.
Yes, we do.
Okay, no, it doesn't. That's
That doesn't
completely
make any
subjective.
sense at all.
Hang on. That is a completely subjective determination from you, but not the agreed upon subjective determination of the human species. Yes, we have problems on the ground. We have many problems here in America. I don't need to go into them. You live in Canada, you already know them.
Yeah.
All right.
They're all
We've got
made
our
up.
own, we've got our own ball of shit to work with. But guess what? We're still out there trying to discover shit like dark stars and other crazy shit like that. So nonetheless,
What if that doesn't exist?
hang on a second. No, then it doesn't exist. We've confirmed it doesn't exist if we do that. But that's
But
an
you won't
important
admit it.
But that's an important thing. If we do, no, that's you making an assumption that science will automatically lie to you. Okay? But
Well,
if
I know
we
it's a
do,
lie.
the whole point about all of this is in order to, the reason we do these things is because the more we understand about the universe itself, the better of an idea we have as to our cosmic origins, the better we understand how we came to be here, the better we understand our place in the universe, not just on this silly fucking planet, but in the universe itself. All right?
I think
now,
we have the answers to that.
Now,
But they're being
nonetheless,
kept from us.
Nonetheless, I don't think that this is a science issue. Ultimately, I don't think you said to yourself you're not religious. I don't know if you believe in a god or not. Maybe you do, but I don't even think. I think
the Gnostics had it right.
I think it comes down to a disenfranchisement issue. I think it comes down to you see money being spent by the government, being utilized, taxpayer dollars being utilized by the government to fund projects that don't help you.
That don't help humanity.
That don't, but you are a part of humanity.
That's right.
And actually, look,
so I invite you. So one second, I'm sorry, STSD. I invite you, David, to examine the issue. Is this about it impossible that we went to the moon, really? Or is it more about you're upset that the system operates without you specifically in mind. You don't need to do anything like that.
Put it this way. One
Just
second. Let me answer that, okay? If we lived on
Sorry,
a ball.
I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
go ahead.
call out a super chat from Timo.
that,
Timo
that
Lynch, what a
SPT,
legend!
I got to bounce.
€5. The minerals you claim have been seen. You absolute prick. I prepped, looked. Oh, bear with me a second. I prepped, looked at that, presented thin sections of lunar rock photography. David, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, SESD, like I said, I didn't want to dominate your stream. I got to bounce out of here because I got to go check on the dogs. But you guys have a great rest of your night. Think about what I said there, David. Really consider it, because I think that this is not a science. I don't think this is a science, a government, or a religion thing. I think this is a disenfranchisement thing.
Can I just make one point before you
JL,
go,
thank you for coming on, mate. Good to see you.
Take it easy, Chief.
Beautiful. Everyone needs to check out JL. I'm sure you will, and I'm sure you bloody know already who he is already. He's a bloody legend. We've got 42 people here.
Yeah, so
absolutely
I just want to make
incredible.
one point to that,
David,
actually.
bear with me a second, mate. Bear with me a second.
Yeah.
I just want to acknowledge the people in the chat and everything. We've got 42 people here. Absolutely incredible. When me and Timo went live, I said, like, if I've got 5 people, it will be amazing. I think it's like nearly a year that I've even gone live. So we've got 42 people here. JL probably helped bump the numbers up there a little bit. So, stay with us. Stay with us, guys. We've still got David here that doesn't seem at the minute to be able to accept evidence or any logical kind of things that are put his way. But we'd still give him a chance.
Okay.
You know.
Hey, my mind can be changed. It's open. The doors aren't closed.
Because at the start of this chat, you were like, "Oh, anyone that thinks the Earth could be anything that isn't flat."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's not science, dude. Science is about trying to prove yourself wrong. You know.
Yeah, how could somebody say they're scientific? Like, and that's what bothers me about all the people, the tunes and all the people that are in the debates. You know the ones, and how can you say you got a scientific mind when you get angry? They use ad hominem attacks. It's just a constant attack the person. Don't attack the argument. If a child came by that was
very rarely would MC Toon ever use an ad hom. Like I'd be very
he's not even the
surprised at
worst of the
that.
bunch. He's actually not the worst of the bunch. I shouldn't have used him. I just can't think of all their names off the top of my head. Anyways, but he did go down south, and I think that whole thing was disingenuous from the start. I don't believe any of it. And they should know that if there's any group in this world that if you're going to try to deceive, is don't pick the flat earthers, because they are going to rip it apart. And and the more you get your back up, they're just investigators. And they're going to be looking at it like, well, why are you hiding? If you look like you're hiding something, all we're going to do is rip it apart and say, we're going to go and channel in more on that. There's no reason I have no emotion to any of these people. I've never met any of them. And I just know that I don't know. If there's a crime here and the only way to investigate it, but we can't look over here. The crime is over here, but you can look everywhere but over here. You'll never solve the crime. And that's what I think this world is. It's a giant crime. And we're not looking in the right places because there's people manipulating us.
I think that you're led to believe that there's places you can't look, but really try and tell me where you can't look.
Where you can't look? Yeah, I did earlier. You can't go south of the 60th parallel.
Yeah, but then, we're going around in circles now because the final experiment showed that.
Right. So basically the argument how would he know that you can take the latitude lines and they come together at the bottom?
Because people travel. You know, there's a
No, but you
race
can't
around
travel down there.
Antarctica. You
So
can.
that was disingenuous just to say that's
No,
safe
it's
in general.
just something that you believe, if you know what I mean. Like you believe that you can't travel down there because you've been told so, but you can. You know, news
Look,
flash, you
look at
can.
all the things that they said they had to do just going to the Antarctic. What is it? It's just a giant, mountains. No one's out there, and you got to let everybody know where you're going to be. You got to carry
It's
your
the
own
desert.
crap.
Like it's the most desolate desert on the planet Earth.
They
Do you know what I
act
mean?
like it's
So
so pristine that, oh, you can't go there. What? It's just a cold desert as far as what they tell us. So why can't you go there to explore? If the
you
whole
can.
world,
No, you can.
any other species,
Nobody's
if we
stopping
were,
you.
no, look, if any other species, there would be nobody. If we were all grasshoppers or we were all ants, we would have just gone. There would be no borders. This idea of countries where you
No.
have Canada and United States. Uh, oh, you can't go over there. You got to go through this way here, and you got to give proofs and all your authority and passports. And like, what?
But I
Why
mean,
can't I
are
just
you
go
aware of like
over?
where are you from? Like Canada? I don't know. Like in England, we have like I don't know. They're called like
Yeah.
nature reserves. So you can't just walk through this nature reserve because you might fucking endanger endangered
Oh,
species and shit. Do you know what I mean?
okay.
So even at that level,
You
surely
won't
you must
endanger anything.
understand that like you're not going to be able to just walk over this thing where
No, these are just
oh,
excuses.
there might be one of the most rare places on earth. So you need to protect this area, and like that doesn't mean you can't go there. It just means that you have to have a good reason to bloody be there. Do you know what I mean? No one's saying you can't go. Like
Yeah, lots of
as
people are saying
Dave
it.
McKeegan and MC Toon proved, they bloody went there
I
and
don't
saw the
believe they did.
24-hour sun.
Not convinced.
Well, yeah,
Not
but
convinced.
you don't think they did, but you don't know they
How do
didn't.
I know they weren't at Area 51 or I don't know. I wasn't
Uh,
there.
Go there
I can't
yourself,
confirm it.
asshole.
did, did you did you see
Jesus
the weather?
fucking Christ.
The Area 51. That's like where is that? That's like fucking Las
New
Vegas
Mexico.
or something in New Mexico. Yeah. Come on, man, David. When did you find flat Earth? Like when did you become a flat Earther, dude?
2015,
2015.
right when it came out, honestly. When I look back into it, I realized, oh, that's right about when it came out. And I'll tell you, I've heard everyone's story about how they discovered it. Mine was a little bit different. I didn't actually look into flat Earth first. I looked into free power. And I discovered
Free
because
power.
I believe that you could make free power. It didn't make sense to me that my power bill
Oh,
was so
no, I mean
outrageously high.
that's against. Well, the very thing where flat earthers say like, "Oh, there must be a dome," because that's against thermodynamics. Free power is against thermodynamics.
Well,
Do you know what I mean? Like, it just can't happen. There's no such thing.
what? There's no such thing as free power?
Yeah,
Well, no. I mean,
you're
no.
gonna
These
you're
people
gonna
are
create
controlling your
more
power.
energy to create the power.
No. You
Like,
work for power. You are the machine that keeps it going.
God.
I mean, you have wind power. You have solar power. Why can't we just set these things up, and then everybody gets free power? Power should be free, anyways.
I mean, yeah, maybe it should be, but it's not, and it doesn't come for free. Do you know what I mean? It takes energy to create power.
Yeah, but we're the machines paying to operate it. That machine still runs. There's no reason why anyways, when I looked into free power, the first thing I discovered was that all the things that I was trying to make, other people already made them. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. And it was nothing new, the ideas that I had. But what I realized was when they started putting it out, they got killed.
What was that? Any of
You
that
know?
have to do with conspiracy theory?
I don't need to go into all the names of the people that have been killed for discovering free power.
No, I mean, I know you're going to probably mention some guy that created the supposed engine that runs off water and all of this.
Yeah,
Do you
and
know
that
what I mean?
works
Like,
too.
it comes up time and time again, but
Right. So why don't we run a car off water?
because people can't make money from it, basically.
Right.
You know, if someone can legitimately make money from something, they'll do it. You know, and it's not
But they won't
viable, so
allow
no
it.
one did it. You know, it's as simple as that.
Right. So if they're not allowing it and they're forcing us to pay for it, and then they claim that, oh, it's global warming. Well, you know, what would come out of the tailpipe if the car Stan Meyer made it run off water? And he wasn't the first one to come up with that. That was actually a reinvention of the very first engine that was ever made. Came from this little Sir Isaac de Rivette, I think his name was, from France. And that car ran, or that motor he made ran off water. But nobody even
No,
knows the story of how that transpired. And it didn't, even
it
Henry
wasn't
Ford,
even
when he
water
made
though, was it?
the
I'm
first
sure I've
motor,
read into this before. If you look,
well, but
actually look into
when
that, it's
every time I
not
get
actually
into,
water. You know, it
sorry,
ends up
say it
being
again.
some kind of, I don't know, steam maybe or something like that. But by the end of it, it was taking more to put in than it actually gave
No,
out. You know
no,
what I
no,
mean?
no.
That's why like petrol engines exist, or nowadays electric engines exist, because you know it's going to give you a huge amount of power, and then other people can make money from it. You know, with these organizations, why are they going to hide something that they could make a killing out of? Do you
Okay,
know what I mean?
so
They're not going to
it's
kill
always the
one
same
person.
argument. No, so your arguments are always the same. Is, you know, why would they do this? Why would they lie? Once again, slavery, and to force us to continually
No,
be
let's say it's
the
the
motor that
offensive
keeps all
to
this
like
going.
actual slave. You
Well, no, it is
know
slavery.
what I mean? Like because like slavery in your terms is like in this modern day sense where you know you're thinking slavery as in mind slavery.
Well, let me, you know,
But no,
as far as the engine, and you said, oh well, we can go further on fuel than we could of electric. Well, first of all, if you see
I
those
love that.
ridiculous
I
trucks,
love that this is your best flat Earth proof is like fuels of different things, and do
well, that
you know
was
what
the
I mean? Like
goalpost that got moved over to
this is what this
flat
channel
Earth.
is about, dude. I'm an ex flat earther, and I want you to prove to me that the Earth is flat because I've realised it's not. And if you're going on about fuel cells and free electricity,
Okay,
I'm on
fine,
for a
fair enough.
banker that the Earth's a globe, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, that's fine.
So if you want to carry on with this, it just shows to anyone listening that actually the Earth's a globe because he's
Well,
got
is there
nothing.
anyone else
He's
who
going
wants
on
to
about
come in on
engines.
this? You got some
Does
listeners
anyone
there.
what?
Does anyone want to come in on this discussion?
I doubt it. I
Okay,
doubt it, to be honest. Like, because they'll know. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're
okay,
not bringing anything, David. You're
okay,
just saying words.
okay, okay. Well, anytime I do say something, it's easy to just sit back and go, "Well, that's just word salad," and
It's though.
that's what Toon does all the time. I'm tired of his. It's, oh, that's word salad.
It
I
is
think
though
it's the
because like
ballers that came up with this idea. Anyways,
things
it's, yeah,
things that aren't word salad, David, is like things that are backed with evidence. If you know what I
okay,
mean. So yes, people can say
okay.
words, but then you can be like,
Well,
right, will I correlate that?
well,
Does this thing drop at that rate? I'm going to time. How long does it take to get from here to there? You know, and you
yeah,
can correlate that.
okay. Well, like TJ, he would talk for a long time
Jump
and
in,
then wouldn't
Submaster.
allow me. You got to allow me a little time to give an answer, okay?
Go on then,
So,
mate.
yeah, like TJ, when we were talking about the sun and the moon, these are both just energy sources. One puts off a cold energy and one puts off a hot energy. That's why it's colder at night.
No such thing as
Okay, that's when the moon
cold.
comes out, it's
Ever.
cooler. And
Mm.
It just
what
is
are,
not such a thing.
Is there such thing as a cold light?
yeah, and we can prove that it's a cold light by doing an experiment. Get a
No.
glass of water and put a thermometer in it and put it under a chair at nighttime in the shade of the moonlight. And it does the opposite effect, almost to the same amount of degrees, of a few degrees cooler in the in the shade.
It's pins,
Or cooler
Submaster.
in the, sorry, it's colder not in the shade of the moon. I'm saying that wrong because I get it mixed up because the sun, things are cooler in the shade of the sun because the sun's putting off a hot energy, right? So you put something in the shade of the sun when the sun's out, and it's going to be a few degrees cooler in the shade than it is in the direct sunlight. It's opposite to that at night, which tells you that that's an energy source. And if it was, so when we were talking about reflective light, and then he's like, oh, well, you know, you can't, what's that got to do with spectrometry and all this stuff? It's like, well, this here disproves what he was saying, but he wouldn't let me finish my thought. And it was a bit disingenuous. And then he walks off like he won something, like there was a prize at the end. There's no prize at the end of this. I could care less. You know, if he can prove me wrong, if my theories are wrong, but he's, you know, they get all emotionally attached to it. Even your friend won't come back in the room because he's like, well, if, you know, if you prove you're going to upset me because you're proving my whole industry like they're connected to it. They're too connected to the character they're playing here. Okay. Your friend is just like, we looked at those moon rocks and I can tell you're trying to tell us we're all stupid. I'm not calling you stupid. I just, I haven't seen it for myself.
Hey,
I didn't mean to offend you. Okay. Yes.
go fuck yourself, right? Oh yeah, I looked at these moon rocks. Yes, it's something I studied. What have you done to do that? What have you done?
I'd like to see those
Can you?
moon
No, no,
rocks.
no, no. I don't.
I believe that about as
Go-
much as dinosaurs.
No, no, no. Go listen to me.
Yes.
Can you look at a thin slice, like petrography? Can you look at a thin slice and identify a single mineral on it?
It's not my area of expertise.
All right, it's mine though. So fuck off.
Okay. Okay, but you're too connected
Touche.
to the whole. Right. Why is he so upset about it?
Well, 'cause
Jobs are
that's
just
his-
jobs to put food on the table. That's all they are. It's a
No.
means to trade your
When you study
time.
a field like that, dude, you know, obviously, you know, which clearly shows you haven't.
What?
You know, what did you say you studied earlier? Do you know what I mean? If someone told you you're wrong about that, you'd get a bit passionate about it, wouldn't you?
No, I'm not
You know.
connected to anything. If somebody can prove me wrong, I'd probably oh wow, thank you so much. Gee,
Let me
I
just
wouldn't
call
want
out
to go to,
this
I don't want to go to my
$5
grave
super
being
chat
ignorant.
from JSS Tiger. When you put an object in the shade at night, heat from the ground radiates upwards
Oh my
as partly gets trapped. There you go. There's your
Oh.
answer to tonight. We've got a
Look,
guest.
this is what I mean.
Stabs, we're about to bring you on. Add to stage. There you go. Right. Hello.
Hello, who do we
Right,
have?
I'm moderator
like talking
again.
to
I'm
folks,
moderator
so-
again. Let's let you two guys have a little chat together. Let me
Sure.
just get rid of this JSS
Hello, David.
Tiger legend. Right.
Hello there. What is it?
I
Put my
want
glasses
to
on.
know.
I hate being blind. Sav, okay.
Hello,
You tell me you're a
I'm
flat earther.
Savs, so that's just my username. I'm not a flat earther.
Not yet.
I
Technically, if
believe
the
that
Earth is flat,
round.
Sav, if the Earth is flat, we're all flat earthers. Just so you know. Just saying. I don't mind saying I'm a ball earther.
Okay.
I
I want to ask you, what is the ultimate reason why you believe that the Earth is flat?
Hello.
The ultimate reason that I think it is? I don't think. I know.
Yeah.
So I don't like the term flat Earth.
Okay.
Anyways,
But
like
why?
I said earlier, because it's just a sort of a mind psychology where people just immediately throw it out without looking any further. And that's not science. That's not a scientific mind. A scientific mind would be like looking at all evidence. Doesn't matter if you learned it when you were 70 years old or 80 years old. It doesn't matter when it came into your awareness to immediately just, oh, that's not true because we are all over here on this idea. You're part of a cult mentality. And cults are dangerous because everyone wants to be part of a team and in a group. And that's why you root for teams and groups. I don't even watch sports for that reason. I don't even like the idea of countries and flags. It's just a reason to fight as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, a little off topic there, but what's your question?
So, well, my question is, what convinced you to believe that the Earth is flat? Like, what is your ultimate reason? I just want to know.
my basic senses and my instincts would suggest to me there's not one, like we have sensories. You have your eyes, your sense of smell, your taste,
you can.
your hearing, everything about you tells you that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If I was upside down, I would know it. If I went to Australia or Antarctic, no one even brought that up. Aren't these people upside down? And by the way, if there were satellites up in the sky, like we were talking about earlier, looking at planes, why don't they take a picture of a plane to show us those planes in Australia landing upside down in Sydney? Why don't they do that?
Well, I think that has to do with distance from the Earth, pertaining to low Earth orbit and the clouds. So you're talking about, I'm assuming your argument is that because of the relative information you have, if you just see everything around you just looks flat, is
Generally does.
that correct?
Upside right too. You see it the same way as me.
Your audio's cutting out.
Oh, can you hear me now?
So because I can look out at the horizon. Oh yeah, I can hear you. So how do you account for, say, when you see a boat and it goes out into the distance and it slowly goes down past the horizon? This is how people of ancient past knew that the Earth was round. They could see boats in the distance sinking. So how do you account for that? You assume that it is a great conspiracy, yet ancient peoples throughout time independently verified that the Earth was round. You have the Greeks verifying it, the Chinese, you have also Europeans, sailors. They learned that the Earth was round through experience, and each of them also performed different experiments in order to determine the curvature of the Earth to like almost exactly. So to say that these ancient
that's the
groups that
Aristophanes
hardly had contact with each other, they hardly had contact with each other, and eventually through observation. So how could this be a conspiracy? And especially modern movement has origins in the 19th century. Yeah.
Okay. First of all religions and all cultures up until the last 100 years always knew that the Earth was flat and stationary, meaning it's not moving. Sorry, what's that?
Citation needed for that, but
citation needed. That's a large statement, like that all civilizations knew that the Earth was flat.
Well, you name it one religion. If you look into all the religion, all the text, everything, all the symbology that we can see around us today is all telling us that. The only thing and the only organization is that black spell box that we've all brought into our homes to brainwash ourselves and our children with, is that cult that NASA puts out. So that is the real deceivers, is NASA. Sorry, where did you go?
NASA.
Where's
I don't know. He may have dropped out because he's absolutely fed up of you keep bloody ignoring every question that anyone's asking.
And you jumped off topic as well.
Yeah. A squirrel.
Hey,
how are you
doing?
Yeah,
I'm
good.
doing okay.
Yeah, no, okay. Well, he was asking the same question about things going off in the horizon, which, I mean, I'm sorry, but we've beaten this horse to death in the flat Earth arguments.
Okay.
We have, David, but you never listen. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is the thing, and that's why people do end up getting a little bit frustrated sometimes, I think. It's like that no matter how much is explained to you, you never bloody listen.
Okay.
Let me make a point on this.
Yeah, go ahead.
A ship disappearing bottom up is exactly what we expect on the globe. The primary and only flat Earth argument that I know of is it looks flat. However, when you acknowledge that a ship disappears bottom up and you say, oh, well, yeah, that happens, what you are saying is, oh, well, it just looks flat, or it just looks curved, rather. So you are contradicting yourself by making this, with that acknowledgement. What is it about the flat Earth that causes a ship to disappear bottom up?
Okay. First of all, there's a lot of different effects that happen when a boat is disappearing into the horizon. Okay.
Okay.
And people will bring up these arguments about the what do you call it, fatamorgana, where things reverse upside down, and there's different effects that happen. Okay.
Yes.
When things go straight off.
Granted.
But I just want to talk about how perspective works.
You don't need to. I will acknowledge something here.
Yeah, go ahead.
If the Earth is flat, this has to happen.
What's that?
What you're saying has to happen. But what you are saying is it looks curved.
I never said it looks curved.
No,
the horizon word actually tells you.
The consequence of your saying these things is you are saying it looks curved.
No.
No, I'm saying it looks flat to me. When I look out,
I know, but ships disappearing bottom up, all these effects that you're talking about, they are a consistent thing over the argument, over the conversation around the flat Earth, and all you are saying with those words is it looks curved. So if it looks curved, if the things that are happening that you are describing in relation to ships disappearing bottom up are occurring, why do you say it looks flat when it just looks curved?
I'm not sure how you're taking my words and twisting them there, but I'm saying that it looks flat. I don't think I said that it looks curved. I didn't call it the curvature, the horror curve, or whatever you want to call it. It's called horizon.
Okay.
Horizontal.
If a ship disappears, if the Earth is a globe, would you expect
I will answer this.
If a ship is a globe, would you expect it to disappear bottom up? The ship to disappear. If the ship is a globe.
Sorry.
Would you expect a ship to disappear bottom up?
I honestly, the idea of living on a ball is so foreign to my mind now that
this argument from
Ingrid. So you cannot put yourself in the position.
I will disprove what you're saying there. What's your name? A Squirrel? I will disprove what you're saying, okay?
You won't.
Well, I will. Do you think, what are the chances that I could?
0.
So your mind is closed to the idea that I could. Okay, but earlier I said, if you can convince me, my mind is open to it. But I can't convince you of anything because your mind's closed to it.
No. You misunderstood me.
Oh, pardon me.
If the Earth is a globe, ships will disappear bottom up.
That's what you're asking me?
No, that's a statement. I guess I'm asking if you agree with that statement.
That's what they say. That's what they claim. It seems illogical to me.
Why would they not?
Okay, let's assume that we live on a ball. This is crazy to me.
Illogical.
Correct. We are making that assumption.
Yeah, we are making a huge assumption that nothing in your
that's fair. I understand your point of view.
You if you didn't know anyone else, hey Squirrel, if you were the only person on the earth, you wouldn't think all this stuff.
It's not going up.
It takes 12 years to indoctrinate a human mind to the point where they're in a cult where they don't know they're in a cult, and that's why everybody's reacting around me. I'm very open to it. So far, you're calm.
You just told me.
What's that?
You just told me something. You just told me that I would believe the Earth is a globe. the Earth is flat if nobody else was around. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. When I go out for a walk,
Yes.
I look at 180 degrees of ocean with mountains on the other side. I see curve.
No, you think you do, but you don't.
That may be true.
Okay, well, forget the curve. Do you feel
Sorry,
yourself
Kyle.
moving, a squirrel?
Why would I?
Yeah,
Should
You're
you?
changing the topic.
Hey, Squirrel, I think a few people in the comments said, could you move your microphone down? Because I think it's up on your head a little bit. So if you moved your mic down. Oh, you
This
got
is my
one.
microphone.
Oh, yes. Okay. I
Can
get
you
it.
not hear
I
me?
get it. Yes, I can now. I think you've got a very you've got a deep but very subtle voice, basically.
right.
So if you could
Um,
project a little bit more, but
I
like
can
it's only me at this end. I don't know, but I have noticed a couple of people saying
bump up my volume a little bit. It
I
is
can hear him
dangerous
fine.
to do so. How's that?
Okay,
yeah,
I'll
that's
address.
perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
While
You are
you're doing
you are
that.
changing the topic.
Okay, I'll stick to that topic. Fine.
Okay, let's just I actually have a different question.
Go ahead. Well, this is switching the
That's
topic. Why don't you let me
it
answer?
is.
Okay, A Squirrel, one sec. I'll let you finish that. Let me answer the one question you guys have been asking over and over. Just at least let me address things going
Ships
off
disappearing bottom up.
and disappearing from the bottom up. And we have technology today where you have the P900 camera, and I'll say, if I was on the beach with you looking out and we were watching a ship going straight out, and I'll say, okay, maybe 20 miles out, it disappears. And then you go, look, see, Dave, you live on a ball. I say, okay. And then I pull out my camera and I zoom in. I say, well, there it came back up. Does that mean the Earth just got bigger? Did the ball get bigger?
It never came back up. That's a
I
lie.
think actually, like sort of stepping in here, I think one thing you need to get out of your head, David, is the fact that it's a ball. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Don't worry, I got that out of my head that it's a ball. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think any true, like, I don't know, like, someone that really works in this field, they're not going to describe Earth as a ball. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you just think, oh yeah, we live in a ball, and then suddenly you're upside down on the ball. That's not how it works. Do you know what I mean? It's not a tennis ball. It's not a basketball.
Right.
Earth
I can't
is
believe those arguments
huge.
come up.
Like,
It's a joke. I can't believe
the scale.
some of them use the idea of a tennis ball. I can't believe they even say, look, or they'll have the surface tension. They'll say that water curves, and then they'll take a drop of water and they'll see this, but that's just surface tension on a drop. You don't live on a drop of water. You live with zillions of gallons of water on the ball idea.
But when you scale it down, actually, there's me saying, oh, don't look at balls and basketballs. But I've heard if you look at a basketball, like a basketball has got dimples on them.
Yeah.
Mount Everest wouldn't even come as high as the dimple on a basketball.
That's just regurgitating Neil deGrasse comment, but
Well,
even Joe Rogan.
But you're only regurgitating bloody algebra, so I'd rather regurgitate Neil deGrasse Tyson.
When Neil deGrasse said that, for the record, Craig, when Neil deGrasse made that statement, Joe Rogan, who said at one point, he says, you know what, just tell me the truth and I'll lie to my own mother. And next thing you know, he's back in there, who used to be a conspiracy theorist, is suddenly wearing NASA shirts and the biggest, what we would deem shill of all. And then suddenly he has Neil deGrasse Tyson on, and he's like, oh, he used to be a moon guy. And suddenly he changed his tune overnight. Just like Jaron.
Well, no, he probably changed his tune with evidence. But $5 super chat from JSS Tiger. Thank you so much. P900 zoom is a magic trick. The boat was simply too small to see and disappeared before it got to the horizon.
Yeah, you can't make a boat reappear. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm an
So-
amateur photographer.
Well, why don't you just go out and try it?
I
Squirrel?
have done.
Oh, he
I have-
has.
I have done. It doesn't
You've
work.
gone out
Mm.
there and you zoomed into a boat that disappeared and it didn't reappear?
I zoomed into a ship and tried to make the bottom reappear. Yeah, no, it doesn't happen.
Well, maybe the laws of physics simply don't exist around you because it works for me.
Hey, that is an absolute possibility. Okay. Let me.
That
was
a
Okay.
quote
Just
from
back to
we
that
didn't
one
catch it.
point. As far as I understand, I looked this up, and the difference between the claimed lowest point and the claimed highest point is 20 kilometers. What's the claimed radius of the Earth?
Well, actually, it would be more than that if you do the Marianas Trench, which is actually higher
No,
than.
that's including the Marianas Trench. It's something like 11 kilometers and 9 kilometers or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Didn't know.
It's 20 kilometers. What is the claimed radius of the Earth in kilometers? Something like
4,000 roughly.
4,000?
Well, that's what you believe. I don't, but yeah.
I don't think so.
What? No. What? The radius of the Earth is 4,000 kilometers. 8,000
6,000.
diameter. No. It's
Claimed is 6,000.
no. It's
A comet.
radius is half, right? Diameter is the whole thing. So you should be saying the whole diameter of the Earth is 8,000.
No, the Earth is.
Oh, sorry, miles.
Almost
miles.
a perfect square. Its equatorial radius is 6,378 kilometers.
Don't think so, but
Compare, whatever.
Are you talking
compare-
miles, kilometers?
I'm talking kilometers.
Oh, there we go. Okay, let's get
Compare
this
20
units right.
kilometers to 6,000 kilometers.
Sorry, what was the question?
Compare 20,000 kilometers to 6,000 kilometers.
How is this relating to the
That is
topographical?
the distance between the bottom of the Marianas Trench and the top of Mount Everest. 20 kilometers. How high is the dimple of a basketball?
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're trying to solidify the
Relative to
smoother than a pool ball,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, well,
It's-
this is the guy who proved gravity just by dropping a mic, and everyone goes, "Wow!" And I was just like, really,
Rabbit. Like,
she-
no, it wasn't
at its
nothing to
best.
do with that. Like,
Let me ask the question I came on for.
Yes,
do it, Squirrel. Come on.
gonna be
Okay.
begging the answer.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Sorry, Squirrel, mate. I've got a €2 super chat from Jasper. Oh, yes, Jasper. Either way is fine, and I'm sure he'll think the same. David, why is the ring of ice? Why is it the ring of ice is frozen? But we'll come back to that
Okay,
after a Squirrel's
sure.
question.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Go ahead.
Science is wrong, therefore flat is not a valid argument.
Science is wrong about everything, and it's deliberate.
Okay. That doesn't matter. That is irrelevant to the shape of the Earth.
Wow.
That's my point.
It's irrelevant to the shape.
Yeah,
You know, this is the whole
magical.
funny thing about the flat Earth argument. These are not
Y'all
models
get me
that
now.
are even close to each other. I could see if we were arguing that one person says it's flat, but the other person says that it's slightly convex over here, or one person says that, maybe if I was arguing that it's shaped like what does Neil deGrasse Tyson say it is now?
At your worst, you weren't that done.
He's now said it's bigger at the bottom.
Not even
There's-
close.
So
Yeah,
hold on.
This guy is so bad.
One sec.
I can make it fit up.
Yeah.
I can't have a conversation with this person.
Yeah. No, I don't
Yeah.
blame you.
I
bro.
just made a
It hurts the brain, doesn't it?
and
It does,
he
mate.
jumped away from
Mm. That's all he's done.
everything
All
and started
squirrel, actually.
moving off
Like,
topic.
let's,
What's that?
yeah. Let's pull it in now, mate. A squirrel. That's all he's done all evening. And that's all flat earthers do is duck, dive, deflect, move away,
and they don't dare address any issue that is brought up.
Well, let
I
me put this
did.
question to you.
Bring
as
up an
an-
argument.
as an ex flat earther. You've got arguments like gravity doesn't exist.
And it doesn't.
Which,
Did you
Out of
say it
curiosity,
does?
guys. Okay.
arguments.
Sure,
I'm saying flat earthers make arguments like
Okay.
gravity doesn't exist. They make an argument like atmosphere requires a container. Let's take that one. I don't have a sphere handy.
Okay.
But let's suppose I take a marble, I put it in a jar, and I close the lid. I have in my hand, obviously not right here, but I would have in my hand a sphere in a jar. The fact that the sphere is inside a container does not make the sphere flat. That is absolute proof that atmosphere requiring a container does not make the Earth flat.
Yes.
As an ex-flat earther, how would you take that argument? Yeah, let's leave it at that for now.
Well, I often think that like a lot of flat Earth proofs, or say with exclamation marks, are like they debunk themselves. So when they say like, oh, you can't have an atmosphere next to a container,
right?
There must be something that stops this vacuum.
Yes.
Next to and then they go, but space is fake. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, hang on a minute.
What happens when you open a can of pop?
Irrelevant.
But then I'm
That's my
saying,
point.
like, you go, oh, we need a container to contain all this air. But then what's the other side? Space.
Which fits in our model because we say it's a container.
Yes, but I've just proven
that debunks itself.
That's irrelevant to the shape of the Earth.
To the shape of the Earth. It's really shocking to me
A
that
sphere can
it's so
inside a container. So
you're inside a container right now.
Okay.
When you go outside,
your mind is, David, but
David.
Yeah.
A sphere can exist without a container. So the argument that atmosphere requires a container has no relevance to the shape of the Earth.
But he needs to
well, let's argue at different points. If you're going to talk about squirrel.
Sorry. Oh yeah, he seems.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hello.
Hey, Sal.
Hey.
I got onto better tech this time because my laptop kept crashing. Sorry.
Oh. I thought I upset you.
Here we go. Right, I'm going to call it now, though, guys. Sav, I'm going to obviously give you guys some time because Sav, I've just realised he's been sitting there that whole time. I didn't even realise.
That's all right.
I've made my point. SDSD, can I just...
We're going to give it 20 minutes, guys, and then I have got to get to bed because it's like, what, it's going to be 3:05 by the time I call the stream.
I'm just going to make a closing statement with you, STSD, right?
Yep.
My point with this is there's a whole bunch of arguments like the atmosphere, like gravity and that sort of thing that come in the form of science is wrong, therefore flat. Those arguments are all irrelevant, and it's almost frustrating to see the globe side arguing the points, saying, okay, yes, well, atmosphere can exist with a container when the conversation is irrelevant. Logically, it's a non-conversation because the argument, the conclusion, it's flat, does not come from the argument. It is a non sequitur argument, and I just wanted to try to talk to David and have a little bit of a conversation about things that show the Earth is flat without that. But
I agree.
I
agree with that.
It doesn't seem to happen. Like the conversation with the flat Earth, it didn't work. So I just wanted to. Anyway, I'll give the floor over to Savs and
thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Lovely to speak to you, Squirrel, mate. Thanks
I
for
want
jumping
to
on.
go back
It's been a pleasure.
to the ship on the horizon. So when you're on the shore and you see a ship go out into the distance and it sinks below the horizon, what do you think is going on there, David?
And it sinks below the horizon?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I'm seeing in my perspective is the actual laws of perspective. Do you ever take art in school?
Yeah, I took.
Or doing type of, drawings of perspective? You're
Yeah,
seeing it in your reality
drew.
playing out more of a 3D perspective.
Well, when I drew perspective art, when you see, stuff goes into the distance, it usually gets smaller. But what I'm talking about here is you actually see it sinking. Like if you have, like in old times, you have the mast, it would actually sink below. It wouldn't just shrink into the distance, it would actually sink due to the curvature of the earth. And that's what a lot of people learned in days past. And that's how they figured out that the earth was round. And that's why for the past few thousand years, people have believed that the earth was round. Even though they didn't have satellites or rockets, they discovered through math, experimentation, and just observation using their senses, as you like to rely on here. And they learned that the earth was round. And because many people all across the world independently came up with this conclusion, how could you conclude that this was a grand, deliberate conspiracy and that they're all wrong?
Okay, so the whole point of the idea that you're living on a ball is to hide land and resources from you. And if you look at all the old original maps that have been hidden from you, that I assure you the people at the top are laughing at all of you for not knowing it, there is 4 entry points, or I suspect, sorry, it's distracting me.
STST.
Okay.
Okay. I want to hear him out. So I
okay.
Can,
yeah. No. That's enough. Yeah, I appreciate a good listening ear. So during what we'd say is the global warming, that the ice sheets are melting that they show you, and they used to call it global freezing.
Well, now we're on to it.
But the point of what I'm saying is there are entry points, and there's 4 of them. 2 on the top. Sorry, 1 on the top, bottom,
Guys,
north, south, east, and west.
David.
Okay.
David, I'm sorry.
What maps are these exactly? What ancient maps? Do you understand the limitations of cartography in ancient times and the limited perspective? With us today, we have satellite imagery and can travel around the world.
You have land-based, nothing floats in space, okay? That is an illusion that has been disproved over and over.
By YouTube videos.
By who?
David, I'm sorry, David, Sabs, I'm going to have to call it one. I'm so sorry.
Worries. No worries.
And this is for no other reason than the fact that it's bloody late and I'm bloody tired.
No, that's fine.
Do you know what I mean? But no, thank you so much for coming on. David as well. You've added a lot of entertainment for everybody. So thank you very much. Sabs.
Can I make
one
closing statement though?
Of course, yep.
Okay. I think regarding the whole conspiracy thing, I think the fact that numerous different ancient peoples that were barely, if at all, probably not at all, in many cases, in contact with each other, independently came to the conclusion through observation using their senses that the earth was round and a globe. And some of them actually, almost to a T accurately, figured out the exact curvature of the earth. And furthermore, you have disparate governments that are also mortal enemies, like in decades past,
they all
like
get
the
along.
USSR and the United States. They are they were enemies in the Cold War,
No.
both sending up satellites and competing with each other. Do you think that if the United States actually faked the moon landing, that the USSR would be quiet about that? Do you think that they wouldn't say, hey, by the way, the US faked it?
Yeah, they all get
I
along.
think they would have said something, but no. Numerous people independently around the world verified through radio signals that Saturn V actually went to the moon.
No.
And you can deny that, but, you know, people are all in their own different groups. You know, different nations, they actually oppose each other. So given this...
No, they don't.
Historical facts, given these historical facts from ancient peoples and more modern testimonies, I think it is more reasonable to believe that this Earth is a globe. And that's what I think. You should really consider the historical sources here and also understand the limitations of cartography of ancient peoples, as they had to literally walk the coast,
had better technology,
make a rough
supposedly.
guess on what they look like, and sometimes they got it really bad. I've seen some of those.
One thing I would say is do your own research and research globe Earth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, that's what you need to do is research the globe rather than, like, you know, there's nothing to research with flat Earth. It's just like watch YouTube videos.
There's lots.
Like, no, there isn't, David. But I'm now going, guys. Stabs, thank you so much for joining.
Thank
you, David. You've been a legend. You've added some
It was fun.
humor to the evening, so thank you. I just want to say thank you to Timo over there, absolute legend. You did offend he with the moon rock shit, do you know what I mean? So sort your shit out.
Yeah.
But no,
I'm
David,
sorry.
thank you again. You know, I don't want to be a wanker, but
no worries.
You're
Thanks
a legend. Do you know what I mean? You're a legend, but you're wrong, basically.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But we'll chat again. Savs, you're more than welcome on whenever you want. Martin H. Yeah.
All right.
I just
friend of the show. Friend of the show now. Martin H. Legend. STST.
Bye-bye.
That was fun. That was fun.
Right.
It bloody was, actually. I'm enjoying
it. Was fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Take care. You're a good, decent moderator.
Oh, mate. Yeah, no, I try to be fair. I was you once, mate. I was you once, so I try to be fair. My mum remembers the moon landing. It must have been awesome to watch live.
Yeah.
A squirrel, good night. Did the ancient Egyptians have internet? No. Right, we're over. We're off. See you later, guys. Peace out. 8 out.
All right.
End
Cheers.
stream.